Alrighty then, let's crank that music on down. Welcome aboard, everybody. This is going to be a little bit different. Welcome to lesson number 1. We are going to focus on one of the most important pieces of trading, and it is going to be all about risk today. We are actually going to cut the music. This is going to be a little bit different than anything you guys have ever been a part of. If this is your first time with us, welcome aboard. Make sure you smash that like button, and of course, put all of your questions over there in the live chat here on YouTube. We are here and ready to go. Of course, if you haven't done so already, make sure you are following us over here on Facebook and Twitter, of course here on YouTube. And if you are not in our Discord chat, that is one of the most important places that if you have not gotten there yet, make sure you know how to get there. This is like our very first video that we're going to be doing in this lesson 1 series. We're not going to be talking about necessarily navigation and whatnot. At some point though, if you are joining us and you're brand new to the crew, this is your first video, hang tight. We will be talking about very basic stuff like navigation, like tips and tricks, like how to get through NinjaTrader, things like basic things like your ATMs and stuff like that. But we really want to start out this entire series of talking about risk management, talking about our stop strategies very specifically. You are going to learn exactly what those are here tonight. What's up, Raylan? Welcome aboard. Make sure you guys do say hello to us. Be engaged and active in this. Is definitely makes things a lot more interesting and engaging. And of course, if there's something that's not clear, always pop those over there as well. This is mentorship style. And of course, you can always ask your questions anytime, schedule a call with us, all that good stuff. But let's get right into those. We're going to do these with no music because I know also if you want to play this at a higher speed, I am going to speak quickly. I'm not going to kind of slow things down in these. I'm going to go ahead and set this out in this video. So future videos, if you're watching like lesson 2, lesson 3, as we progress forward, I'm just going to get right into things and go right at it. Okay, so this is sort of the initial intro to what we're going to be talking about. But we will literally diagnose and go into every little detail of what we do in these progressive lessons as we move forward. So setting that level expectation right from the beginning. Thank you. Hello from Miami. That's awesome. Actually, if you guys would tell us hello and then tell us where you are coming in from, that is going to be really awesome. So I know all the folks that we are talking to. What's up, Kevin? Got lots of members here in our crew, and this is starting out, again, 2020. We have done other lessons. So if you have watched our old lessons back from 4 years ago, we're not changing what we do. We are enhancing what we've done. We've got new tools. We've got additional tools. Some of the stuff that you guys may have seen me teach you how to do manually back in the past. I'll give you just one example here. I know a lot of people are familiar with our 2-finger salute strategy. That's a great example. That back 3-4 years ago, we had that trade room open, and you guys remember, if you're hanging with me, those of you guys who are in the Founders Club who've been with me for a long time, that I used to have, okay guys, find 2-finger salutes and announce them in the room, right? We would be looking for them, combing over the markets in our ranges and our different time frames, trying to find those and then call them out. Well, now here's an enhancement of an example here is, oh, we got some H-down people. Excellent. So we have the 2-finger salute algorithm now. That's literally, that can just show it right to you. We already have the algorithm. It's going to pop up for us. We got audio alert. We have auto entry for people who are in platinum, etc. That is one example, and other enhancements like that. But don't think that, oh, we're changing the whole program, or that the stuff that you already know if you've been through our program, that's not changing. Again, we are enhancing, reinforcing as we go forward, and hopefully, and also improving the quality of what we've done in the past, and of course, doing it with longer hair. It's so funny. If you have seen my old videos, you know, when I was fresh, clean cut, all that kind of stuff back in the day, this is a little bit of a bet from last year with the wife and the mom who have convinced me that we should try this. So here we are with the longer hair version of the past. Here we go. So let's bring up some charts and dig into this topic that we call risk. And this is not going to be one of those risk management things where we just talk about, okay, risk 1% of your account, all the stuff that you read on Twitter and all that trash. I'll talk about that in the perspective of, I realize that's maybe you've heard those things, you've been taught those things. While they have their place, I'm going to show you hopefully today why that's different in an income-based strategy style. When you are a day trader, the risk levels and how we manage risk and reward is different than people who are investing, which is a lot of the investment advice that you see out there, not necessarily applying to day trading intraday in the 20 to 40 minute zones that we are entering in and out of our trades. Okay, without further ado, we are here into our system here, and let's come on down and take a peek at some charts. Now, How many of you guys have heard what I'm talking about there on specifically risk? How many of you guys have seen this one? This is pretty common. The never risk more than 1% of your account. All right. If you've heard that one before, type me a 1 over there. Let me make sure I got our chat box enabled in here. Yeah, we do. So type me a 1 if you've heard that before, a 2 if you have not heard that before. And I'll go into the general guidelines of investment strategy 101 when you talk about risk management. You've got your account size, and they'll say on any one trade, never risk more than 1%. Again, if that's you, you've heard that before, type us a 1. If you've not, type a 2. And again, I know there's a little bit of a delay on these streams, so I know it's probably about 20 or 30 seconds, so I'm going to try to hold in for those. But I want to start to engage your mind on how it is that we are a little bit different in some of that, and at the same time sort of the same, and that risk really comes down to what type of strategy and what reward level that you're going at when we talk about those things, right? So we got a little mixed bag. Some people have heard it, some people haven't. We've got some 1s, we've got some 2s. Okay, well, that is a common thing. So if you hear that and then you're like, well, that's not what Vinny taught us. Well, that's kind of what I'm adding, though, is that we're well aware of those type of concepts, and I think that a person who literally knows nothing about trading and you're going to like throw them out there into the sheep, to the wolves. I know that a lot of these trade rooms will teach you that, and I'll tell you, I actually think I know what their strategy is on continuing to push that narrative thought. And some of them will even admit this. You'll hear another statement that comes with that says, well, this keeps you in the game longer. Think about that statement. Keeps you in the game longer. I'm doing a diet thing. Let's relate it to diets here for a second. There are people who want to change their whole lifestyle and the way that they that their body changes, whether they're losing weight, they want to change their diet, change their exercise plan, and they want to take a long time. Like, well, I'm going to lose this 15 pounds over the next 6 months. Okay, so they lay out this plan. I take it 6 months. I'm a rip the Band-Aid off kind of guy, right? Like I'm like, what's the fastest way I can lose the weight and then start to maintain it? And that's kind of the way that I hit things. In the same way that I'm going to kind of talk about this. If you're just trying to stay in the game, that's not winning. Okay, to me, we're going to talk about a winning method of this. Why am I not able to see the trade room here? What's going on? Oh, there we go. All right, so who wants to stay in a losing game? Okay, that's my question number 1. Okay, if you're constantly losing, but what they want you to do, back to trading gurus and furus. Not gurus, let's talk furu. That's a fake guru, right? That they want you to risk as little as possible, not so that you stay in the game, whatnot. They want you to stay in their subscription service, all right? You guys hearing that? You understand that? That they'll like, oh, don't risk too much. They don't want you blowing out your account and then bailing, okay? They're like, no, keep paying us your $300 a month or whatever that price point is. That, there's all kinds. I mean, just recently we saw somebody charging $7,000 a month for a guy who has 2 years of experience, who is literally an ex-student of mine who tried to steal our code, etc. Just warped mind individuals. You guys know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to talk names here today on the stuff that we're doing, but these type of shills want you to risk as little as possible so that you'll stay in the game longer and that you'll keep paying their BS. Okay. Now, I'm not here to talk to you about specifically how you're going to trade your account always. I'm going to talk to you about how there are phases in your career where you are going to have to risk less and where you're going to have to risk more. Listen to me on this, okay? What phase are you in your career? You should think about this. You need to ask yourself, what phase in trading experience, we're talking about experience here, right now? Because there is not a generic answer for this, and I'm going to tell you, though, again, I'm not going to just give you some wishy-washy, overblown, gray area answer here, but I do want you to think about different phases, and I'll give you some basic ones, right? Are you a brand new trader? There is a risk level for this, okay? You guys kind of see where we're going with this. We got a lot of smart folks in here. I wouldn't know why that didn't just go yellow. See if I can... Is it going to let me do yellow? Here we go. Brand new trader. Maybe 1 year experience. We'll call it XP for experience. All right. Maybe 1 year, because there are months, right? But let's say that you made it through 1 year. 1 year experience, certain level of risk. Game ball, the ultimate phase. So we're going to talk about that. We're talking about like the person who's got 4 years of experience or more, and I'm going to talk to you about why I say 4 years. Okay, you got the 2 year guy. Okay. And 3, but here we are on one that's a lot different, is a 4 year veteran. So let me see, show of hands, we'll type a 1. Again, 1s or yeses around here. Type a 1 if you are a 4 year veteran. Let's see how many of those we've got around here. And let's go, if you've got 1 year or less experience, type us a 2, okay? So 1 if you are a 4 year veteran or more, a 2 if you are 1 year or less, okay? And I'm gonna talk about that. I see this as phases of levels of risk. When you're talking about a risk is, no matter what you ever do in life, there is always a risk. But you're doing it so that you have a reward. You don't just take risk for no reason. You take risk and there's a reward with that. There is no reward without risk in anything in life. And while you guys are answering those questions, just kind of see how they are. Since 1991, all right, we got some older folks there. Long one, 10,000 hours. So Damien, you got your 10,000 hours. Kevin's at 2 years, awesome. Actually, these are great questions. Actually, I should have just asked you guys how many years of experience did you guys have. That's great. Yeah, if you guys want to type in the numbers of years of experience that you have, just kind of gauging this, and then you guys see if you guys agree with me on some of this or not, and I'll explain myself further if you kind of disagree on some of these things. But I believe that a brand new trader, it should definitely not be risking as much as somebody who's got a 4 year experience in the market. Would you guys agree with that? Right? And okay, so there's a good one. So Barry's talking about 3 years in stocks, but new to futures. So that's another one. Like, you may be here in your career, and he's right about here, halfsies, but then, you know, coming new to a new thing, right? You might need to stick yourself in the brand new trader category. Okay, think about this, because again, every person is different, but I want to form fit this into thinking about it on the level of where you are in your trading career. Okay. So start thinking about that. And then again, I'm going to give you guidelines on how I look at it, how I approach it, and I'm going to give you my reasoning why, and feel free to, you know, debate about that, because risk is one of these things. And why I'm starting out with this topic is because, you know, it's a hot topic, and a lot of people think that they've got that nailed down and that, oh yeah, no, risk reward, blah, blah, blah. But what we want to do here in the beginning is, first of all, I would say you'd want zero risk in the beginning. Now, how do I do that? How do I have zero risk at the beginning? It's very simple, folks. Don't trade live. Like that to me is a big deal. As a brand new trader, you need to spend some time in simulated market action, no matter what. Now, we had somebody in our room today, and give Ron a hard time a little bit here. You know, he said, well, as a professional trader now, like, why do we even have a sim account? I want NinjaTrader to be able to remove the sim account. Well, I don't think that's wise either. That's, I'll give my analogy on this, is that's like telling a professional baseball player that he should never go to the batting cages. That's a little bit silly, okay? You should not just always be trading live, even as a professional with 4 years plus experience and doing this even for full time. You should still have time where you are practicing market, especially as markets tend to change and as phases come. If you missed last night's video, oh man, do not miss last night's. On Sunday night's video, and I'm probably going to rename that, or at least the section at the end where we talked about optimization, where we are optimizing based on the current market conditions and going forward. Different market personalities and time phases and shifts inside of that thing that we talked about last night called seasonality is also important. And if you're not practicing that, even as a professional, how are you going to adapt to market conditions if you're not like, hold on, you know what? I'm seeing a pattern there that I want to, as that pattern emerges, I want to look at that and see how often that occurs and try to trade with that, okay? You are constantly a student of the market. There is never a time when this ever stops, by the way, okay? So get that notion out, and that just because, again, you reach some phase doesn't mean now forever and ever you do X, Y, and Z. The market is constantly teaching you some new things, right? But you have to manage this risk at the very beginning, which is why we're going to talk about it Because the most painful things are the account blowouts. Now, if anybody's going to come and tell you as a professional trader that they've never blown out an account, that they've never had big losses, that they've never experienced real losses in the markets, run away from that guy immediately. Okay. In fact, I would never hire, if I were somebody doing inside of a major prop firm or any other institutional environment, if a guy had not already had a big loss or already felt the experience of that, there is no way I would touch that guy in a million years. I would rather hear a guy's story of like he had the worst scenarios of all time. He's like lost the big day. He's had the big account loss. He's had the complete blowouts. He's had multiples even, where this guy has experienced that. I want that guy. Let me tell you why. Because he's already been there. He knows, like, I don't have to teach him what he doesn't know. A lot of people come here. What's up, Mish? That those people have never had that experience. I am never going to put on that, because you know what's going to happen? He ultimately will. And if it's my money that he's trading, he's going to have that experience while he's trading my stuff? No way. I would much rather take the person who has already experienced that, so that is a healthy fear, folks. Fear is not a bad thing. I know we feel like these days, like these kids that we like dip them in, Purell every day, and they go out in the playgrounds, like, oh, bacteria, let's wipe that snotty nose and like wipe every germ off of him and all the time. The kid, he gets a cough now and he's like, oh, it's the end of the world, he's gonna die. Okay, like we're over Purelling everything in life, but in reality, like we've got to take some risk in order to have some reward. But at the very, very beginning, so full swing back, I know I kind of go on these tangents, but I hope that you're gaining something and engaging your mind into thinking about this in a different way, right? You made the mentorship. Awesome. You're here live. Excellent. So as a brand new trader, I want you getting in there and trading sim. Again, our program is 120 days. So if you're starting in right now and you're watching this video, your plan as of right now is 120 days. So mark down that calendar from today, 120 days out. That is 3 sessions of 40 days. Now, 40 days, that's a biblical principle of the perfect amount of time for trial. And doing 40-day sections, to me, is ideal. And at the very beginning, you want to learn the strategies. Part 2, you want to learn how to lose well. 40 days of learning how to lose well, which is what we're talking about right now, risk, okay? From this video on forward, I want you taking this into account and applying to everything, whether you're doing market replay, whether you're doing sim live, any trade that you are taking, that this is going to apply to you. And I'm going to show you the techniques here at the end of this, but I want to talk about thinking about the phase that you're in. And then I'm going to give you somebody, everybody knows Warren Buffett. So Warren Buffett says, risk comes from not knowing what you are doing. Okay. So as you're thinking about where you are in your career, okay, think about what Warren Buffett says. And I don't spell his name right. I don't know if he's 2 F's, 2 E. Anyway, might be Buffet. Okay, so Warren Buffett says, risk comes from not knowing what you're doing. Let's think about that. So this guy is a trading savant, right? More of an investor, okay, let's be honest, okay? But he doesn't quantify risk in a way that's like, oh, always risk 1%, whatever. This completely obliterates the notion of, oh, only risk 1% on any given thing, or 3%. I've heard some people say. That just doesn't come from that. Risk comes from not knowing what you're doing. What's up, Ron? Your ears might have been burning there. You might want to roll back the tape here at the end of this. Make sure you catch that part where we were referring to a couple of things you actually talked about there in the room earlier today. But risk comes from not knowing what you're doing. So this comes back to what I just said. New people, don't you understand that as a new person, they are just, in general, they have more risk, right? That person is a risky person, right? You're not going to put your money on the new guy. Let's be honest, okay? Risk comes from not knowing what you're doing. So how do you come from not knowing what you're doing? Not knowing what you're doing. How do you know what to do? Right? Well, training, right? Education, this is how we all know this. Mentorship. But there is nothing that beats experience. Okay? I don't care how much I teach you, train you, tell you, okay? Experience must be had. Experience. in the markets, executing it, feeling it. Okay, there's a certain level of feel that you must get in that. However, it doesn't negate these other things. You still need the training. And let's talk about these individually. Okay, training, education. There is a difference between these two. Training, education, mentorship, and experience. Each one of these must be had along with the other. Okay, training. I've got to watch some videos and maybe execute at the same time. Education is just maybe other people talking about it, more theory based. Education is like theoretical stuff, like, you know, even what we're talking about right now is sort of the education component. I'm not training you right now. You're not like sitting at your desk and like doing any math problems or anything like that or looking at it. You're just talking about it. Education, training, mentorship. Man, this is so valuable. And you talk to any business person who's successful. Businesses are hard to run. There is a 90% chance that any given business that starts up is going to fail. It's the same stat as traders, by the way. So that's why I tell you guys that trading is just another business, right? You are either a business person or you're not. Now, can you become a business person? Yes. In fact, great businesses, most of them have a mentor. I mean, the biggest guys out there, Facebook, if you guys don't know about his story, go look up Zuckerberg's stories with mentors and who he chose and who has been with him. Every major CEO that you could probably think about, every one of them will tell you they had a mentor. Now, what's the value of the mentor? Well, that person has been there, done that, and they can shortcut you. You want to talk about a way to shortcut the learning curve? This is a huge shortcut, especially when it comes to business. Now, let me ask you something though, right? So should a mentor be for everything? No. I'll give you an example where it's not helpful. How does this circumvent training? Is it better than training? Well, how about math? Okay. Is a mentor going to be better for you to learn math? No. Okay. You need some training or education to do math. If you're going to learn calculus or something like that, go to school. Okay. A mentor who's been there, done that, come back is like, well, that's not going to really help you. Okay. But training and education is like going to college. You learn about how to run a business. You learn about finance. You learn how to make an Excel spreadsheet, all that kind of stuff. That's great. You get right here when you're ready to apply the knowledge that you have. This is an area that I like to call wisdom. You get a mentor who is wise, who can give you wise advice, specific advice, not ho-hum, people that create poems and come up with, you know, quippy sayings and things of that sort. Now that can be helpful, but we're talking about like, how do you run the business? Now apply that knowledge. The application of knowledge is wisdom. So that's what we're doing here in a mentorship program. I'm going to talk about how I apply the things that you know, like, okay, everybody knows about moving averages, you know about Fibonacci, you know about, those are things you might get trained up in. But how do you then apply them in a masterful way to get to a destination, which in our case with trading is a successful business, which success is defined by profitability over a long period of time. Now, why do I say over a long period of time? Because anybody can be successful in a short period of time. Okay, businesses can start off with a bang. I'll give you some examples. Like, anybody heard of those Cutco knives places? What's a popular one now? Like, there used to be like Advocare, Cutco, where they would sell knives, but these multi-level marketing things, give some names of those that you guys have been a part of or heard of, like Mary Kay, selling makeup, stuff like this. Here's how those are boom and bust businesses, okay? Like, what usually happens with those people, like, oh, I'm all fired up, I'm gonna sell, you know, Cutco knives, right? Well, they have a small band of people around them. Every person has a circle of friends around them, okay? These are their little friend circles, okay? And then those friends have friends, and this is how the multi-level marketing thing works, right? And each one of these is trying to, you know, sell out, and then you're just trying to spiderweb this all thing out. But this person right here has a very limited reach, right? What these typically do is they sell to their friends, their neighbors, their mom, their dad buys what they want, and then they struggle with getting beyond that. How do I take it to the next level where I'm like profitable over time? This fades out pretty, yeah, Amway, exactly, Unique, yeah, stuff like that. So you sell to your friends, and then all of a sudden, you know, you have, everybody's like, oh, I'm gonna have a party at my house and show everybody this stuff. well, then it's dead, right? So until then, maybe they, I don't know, maybe they create a YouTube channel and start reaching out beyond themselves. But you get the picture on this. Oops, I'm not gonna be able to remove all that anyway. It's okay. So to be able to grow that business beyond the small, and this business is gonna die out. Okay, these tend to die out. This is like Tupperware. There's a good one. I think my mom did Tupperware back in the day. She also did Mary Kay. LuLaRoe. I've never even heard of that one. But yeah, so these little small companies, so they sell to the little circle and then it's done. Okay, so this is a profitable trader for a short period of time, right? I think that any trader is like starting up your own Cutco business. Okay, you know, I'm gonna use Ron since Ron's my right hand man. You know, Ron knows I love him, so I'm gonna use him to dig on. If I'm not digging on you, I probably don't love you. Now that doesn't apply for everybody, okay? But you know, if I'm not giving you a hard time, then you're probably not cool. All right, if I'm giving you a hard time, it probably means you're cool. All right, multi-level, had a first round of funding, friends and family. Yeah, exactly, Damien, exactly. But then they putter out. So this is like a day trader at the very beginning who's like, oh no, I got this. You know, they make their first week, they make their second week, you know, even a third week, right? They've sold their Cutco knives for 3 weeks and now they're like, woo, I'm gonna do this forever. I can't wait to sell some more Cutco. And then they're like, oh shoot, now who am I gonna invite over to my house this week to show them how I cut tomatoes paper thin and cut cans in half and saw wood with my cutlery. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Like it putters out. Well, this happens with new traders. They don't have the longevity ability. When the market shifts, the market changes, like it's not their friends and family anymore. Okay, it's not their easy market that they're like, oh, it got put into an easy market and the market all of a sudden gets harder. No idea. Don't know how to shift. Don't know how to make a dime once it changes. Okay, so this is what we try to overcome. We overcome that next hurdle because I'm saying that a trader is not a real trader without a test of time. Okay, and if the trader is not profitable for at least 9 months, I talk about 9 months. It takes 9 months to have a baby. That's how long it takes to have a life. I use that analogy a lot. And if somebody can't produce for you at least a 9-month track record, don't save yourself. Okay, I've been on that a lot. I know you guys are here, so I'm not going to harp on that right now. But what we want to do is get past this mindset. Don't get new traders. I'm talking to you. If you come here, even with ALGOBOX, and in your first month, your first week, your first whatever, you come in and you just crush it. Okay, and you're doing it in sim or live. Like I know, look, I can lead a horse to water, can't make you drink. I don't want anybody trading live, especially not before their 120 days is up. But again, I'll lead a horse to water, can't make you drink. You guys are big boys and girls. If you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it, and that's on you. But I'm gonna teach you some things. If you listen to my wisdom, what I'm going to tell you, even from my own personal experience, I don't care how smart you are, folks. I was valedictorian in my class, got 160 IQ. I'm a very intelligent individual, just on a scale of sorts by human nature. And at the same time, through a biblical perspective, it says that the wisest amongst you is the dumbest. And it literally, to him, it's like, to the good Lord above, that it's folly to him, okay? But at that level, I don't care how smart you are, the market is going to wreck you. You want me to tell you why? Because on every side of every trade, there is one buyer, there is one seller. And both of those people think that they are right about that position, and they believe they are astute in their decision to buy or to sell. One of them has to be wrong, right? But they both believe, they have an astute reason why they decided right there. Nobody's trying to trade out here and be dumb. Nobody. In fact, nobody comes in here to trading, and I've never heard anybody say, coming in and going, be like, hey man, I'm really dumb, so I'm gonna come in here to trading. Everybody's like, I'm super smart, so I can do trading because, I saw Gutierrez, whatever his name is, Ricky Gutierrez, do it, and so I can do it too, right? And that's the mentality that a lot of people come in, and then they get wrecked after a little bit, and then they don't know what's up, and whether they go farther or not is up to the individual. There are some people who are persistent. There are some people who not. There are the give up peoples, and then there are the people who persist and carry forward, right? And then there are the people who, like, no matter what it takes, they're going to strive for success. And those are the people that I'm talking here to today, because I promise you in your trading career that as you manage through this, it requires persistence. It requires tenacity to push forward through losses, hopefully keeping them small. We're going to talk about how to do that here tonight, but I want to drive this home in our first video, lesson 1, on risk and thinking about where you are, especially to the new people, okay? And I'll talk about the people who have been here a while too here in just a minute. Account sizes, we're also going to talk about that here momentarily, but none of this supersedes the experience. And I will tell you from the wisdom that I'm bringing you from mentorship that you are going to have to gain XP, experience, okay? To do this is hours of screen time. Now, I've got ways to speed that up for you. Market replay. If you don't know about market replay feature around here, we talk about it all the time. We're not going to go into the topic here tonight, but running the market back at 10x speed. If you know this from, you can do a quick Google, that it takes, you guys familiar with the 10,000 hour rule? 10,000 hour rule, go Google that. It says that it takes 10,000 hours to become a master at anything in life. 10,000 hours is approximately 4 years. Okay, always keep that in mind. Why I said earlier about 4 years before you become an expert. Okay, second biggest loss of all time today due to just straight up dumb mistakes. Did you end up coming out in a positive today, Ronald? Just curious. But the 4-year rule is, and think about 4 years. How long? What is 4 years? Well, think about it. That's 4 years of high school. Right? 4 years of college, 4 years to get your doctorate, 4 years. You noticed something? You notice a pattern there? It's 4 years, isn't it? So, we've already built this into our society. And yet people come here and day trade and they're like, Vinny, I'm ready to trade live. What? I'll be ready to go next week, right? Like, you give me your tool, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go, right? Yeah, yeah. I mean, I know college took me 4 years and everything, and I had to do all this stuff and whatnot, but to get my career going. But you know what? I'm ready to do this next week. Woo! Really? And then you run into a guy like me. I mean, I get trolled all the time on the internet, like, Vinny's just such a mean guy. I mean, he's nasty. Like, if you think I'm nasty, I promise you, the people who are behind the scenes that I worked for when I was a quant, like developing the tools that are out there for people, like, you want to talk about the people that are wrecking you in the markets? It's designed to screw with you. Everything you think you know, the wisest person, when you think you're smart, you think you know what's going to happen in the market, it's because you've been conned into pressing the button, okay? The world is now a gigantic video game for trading markets. You press the button, click, click, and you don't have to, I'm not the only one saying that. Go read the Market Wizards book, all right? What's his name? Somebody give me the author of Market Wizards, going blank on him. Super famous dude. Anyhow, he said the same thing. He put it out to his audience. He goes, what's the difference between a profitable trader and a non-profitable trader? And somebody jokingly said, the press of a button. Well, today everybody's laughing, ha ha ha, press of a button. He said, no, he's actually right. It's no more complicated than that anymore. Nobody has to like yell at each other across a pit and, 45, 45, 5, 5, 5, 5. You got 5, you got 5, 4, 4, 4, 4. No, 2, 2, 2, 2. I got 2, I got 2, I got 2. 3, 3, 5, 5, 5. All that stuff, and wearing bright colored coats and everything and yelling and screaming at each other. All that, nuh-uh. Now, tick, 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 click, 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 tap, tap, tap. Right? It's a video game. So I want you guys to learn it that way. I teach it that way. I train it that way. And I give you a cheat for the market called ALGOBOX. But that cheat, is it Jack Swagger? Man, I don't think it is him. Is it Jack Swagger? It's down in our documentary section. If anybody can get into our Discord, because I don't want to touch it right now or I'll lose all my stuff on my screen here. But go into our Discord, go in the documentary section just to verify that. If it's Jack Swagger, fantastic. And then I'm totally blanked on it. But yeah, Market Wizards. And in his seminar number 2, Asian guy who used to work for 401ks. What about those 409ks? Trump the other day with a fat finger tweet. 409ks, folks. That was funny. So yes, the difference is who clicks the button. Folks, here's what I'm going to tell you about risk. Especially as a new trader, you're being conned. And when you think you're right about, I'm going to go on the low side of like really sharp person, is wrong 85% of the time. And why the failure rate is 95% is because what they do with that when they're wrong. Okay? But you're being conned. It's like a poker game where you think you've got a good hand and the other guy gets you to go all in. The market is like an ultimate poker player that's constantly getting you to try to press the button so that they can fill their orders and move and take your liquidity and take your profits. That's what the game is. And there is a winner and there is a loser. We are all in competition. It's a global competition. The question is, what are you doing to build your edge? What is your edge? Now, we build on edge like crazy around here. We got all kinds of ways that add to our edge. We've got a lot. People have to go a long length to beat us. We still have not yet been able to be beaten. We just crushed macro hedged earlier this year. We have put out, if anybody else wants a challenge, come bring it. We put Michael Oates out of business about 4 years ago. I'm hoping that Jigsaw takes me up on my offer someday and puts somebody up against us, because I'm tired of them, owning the market, which is ultimately just they control the conversation, the communication, and all of the free areas. And it's a scam. Jack Swagger was a wizard. Thank you. All right, awesome. You guys got it. Okay, so Jack Swagger, he's the guy, he's got glasses, he's bald, and he wears a suit. So don't hear it from, this guy wearing a t-shirt and his pajamas every day in here trading. Go listen to Jack Swagger. He'll tell you the same thing. Okay, so experience, market replay, some things. I'm going to show you guys what's coming up this year, because again, all this is all about like new training. What's coming up this year? Some things that we've got to help you guys. Now, don't laugh at what you're about to see, because this is still in beta, but I'll tell you guys there's a mobile app coming that is going to help us and help you to track your time in market replay, that 10,000 hours. Remember, if at 10,000 hours, it's pretty easy. If you're running the markets at 10x speed, that you can contract that down to 1,000 hours. You guys understand that? A tenth of 4 years. Think about that. I don't know if Alexa can tell me that. I never actually figured that out. Alexa, what is 1/10 of 4 years? Let's see if she's got that one.
The products of 4 years and 0.1 are 0.4 years.
0.4 years. 0.4. So 0.4 of a year. Okay, so almost a half. So 40% of a year. Alexa, what is 40% of 365?
40% of 365 is 146.
146. Folks, okay, I'll get you at 120 days. 146 days to gain 10,000 hours of XP. The question is, do you have the tenacity to spend 146 days to become a master at something that could potentially, and I'm not selling dreams here, folks, but there is no limit to what you can make in the markets. Of course, capital limiting, whatever, but you understand what I'm saying, right? Because in fact, if you can become a good trader, people will throw money at you. Okay, you can trade other people's accounts. You can trade any size you want. This goes to these people that are like, well, I really don't have an account size. I'm never going to be able to trade. Stop thinking so small. Think outside the box. A business owner must be capable of thinking outside of the box. How could you trade other people's capital then? If you got good at this, if you got great at this video game, will people pay you to play the game for them? Yes, they will. Because you know what they're not willing to do? Spend 146 days to do it. And that's crazy to me. That is insane to me, because I went through 4 years of college. I went through the 4 years of high school. We did all these things. All of us have been willing to put it forth 4 years and then spend $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 to gain that knowledge. And then they come here and they're like, oh my word, I'm going to have to spend $5,000 on ALGOBOX and go through mentorship training. $5,000 in 146 days. I can't. Listen, that's a different mindset. It blows my mind that that's what they think. They just don't understand it in perspective of what we're doing here. And then to do it without a boss, without employees, it's you, computer, internet, pajamas. To me, the greatest business on the planet. Now, at the same time, I have the backside of that is, what if everybody became a day trader? Well, then we have no doctors, we have no police officers, we have no... I don't want all that to go away. And quite frankly, I actually know that we're just as useless as I kind of have projected out to be. Like, I'm clicking on buttons and making money. It's kind of sick. But if this is what you want to do, I'll tell you what it requires you to do. It's difficult. And people won't do this. They will not spend the 146 days at 10x speed to do that. And they definitely won't spend 4 years to attain it, right? And they want that microwaved. But I'm telling you what you're up against so that you know as we press forward, thinking about your risk. But if you can do this, 146 days, get your 10,000 hours of experience. Unless you want to tell Google and the people that came up with this and did the study that they're wrong about the 10,000 hour rule, that's a whole nother conversation, right? Can you spend 10,000 hours doing something and not become an expert? I'll give an example of this. Folks, I am pretty darn good at Battlefield 3. There are not a lot of people who can beat me at Battlefield 3. If y'all ever seen me play on some of our recorded streams, you'll know what I'm talking about, okay? I know all the tricks. So in that game, I can pretty much wreck, and I'm going to be like some of the top guys on the server every time I go and play. Do you know how much time it required for me to become that expert? I looked the other day just to see, and it tracks your hours. I think I have like 2,200 and something hours. 2,200 hours in Battlefield 3. Now, am I the top? No. Am I the best guy ever? No. There are people with 10,000 hours of BF3, okay? And I feel like I've spent a lot of time playing Battlefield, okay? But I don't have 10,000 hours inside of Battlefield 3. But at 2,000 hours, I'm crushing people, okay? Because there's a lot of people who don't have this amount of time in there. And that's all it really comes down to it, is because I can tell you, in fact, I can teach you all day long. So talking about the mentorship, I can teach you how to play Battlefield 3, but you're not going to go in there and just start crushing people, because you still have to execute with the tool set. Like if I tell you, hey, come over this ridge and use the P90 because it's got the 50 bullets, and come around, use the flashlight, you blind them a little bit. The thing is you're still not going to be as effective as me, who I've done it over and over and over again. Or if I tell you, okay, get in the jet, fly speed needs to be between 310 and 320 speed so that you can have, you can turn quicker than everybody else. If you maintain that speed, that's actually a hard thing to do. Even though I can tell you to do it, until you have done it, it will take you countless hours to master how you do that, because gravity in loops is actually difficult to maintain. Now, I'm using that as an example because trading is the same way. I will teach you very specific strategies on how we do what we do, but then you need to execute those in the various different types of markets that we run. We did an example the other day. There are 25 types of Fridays per year. Did y'all know that? So think about this. There are 52 weeks in a year, but there are 25 different types, almost half the number of Fridays in a year as there are different types of Fridays. The market personality of a Friday, there is a general thing on Fridays, but there is also FOMC week Friday. There is end of month Friday. There is beginning of month Friday. There is contract rollover Friday. There is quad witching Friday. You guys get the point, right? There are a bunch of those, right? Best gun, but one of it matters out of aim. Exactly. You can get the best gun. Like everybody's like, well, what's the best gun in the game? There is a best gun for every different scenario. Okay. There's a time when I bring the sniper rifle out, and I'm not even a sniper guy. All right. But there are particular maps where I'm like, dude, on this map, all those guys come through that one tunnel, and I want to get that M95B, and I'm going to pull it at 12x. So I'm back on that hill, and I'm going to aim down that hallway. And as soon as people start coming down there, pull 3 triggers, tap, tap, tap. You have 9 kills. But is that going to be effective playing out in Caspian border where it's an open area? No, right? So, this map has a choke point. Different type of scenario. So different gun for different places. And again, this is what we're doing with choosing our strategies. And our strategies are over there in Discord, and we'll talk about those as we progress forward in the videos. The other videos will be much shorter, by the way. I'm spending a lot of time in this video as we progress forward. This is lesson number 1, that I want you to think about risk, managing it, know where you are, have reality check to what you're going to be doing as we progress forward, as you learn the things that you're going to learn, and using me as a mentor to you to tell you what experiences that we have and anticipating for you, what you're going to be looking into, and showing you what type of markets that we are currently in at that time to give you the best opportunity for success, including our optimization thing that, again, I went into in depth last night in that video, but we'll be doing some more of those as we progress forward. So just keep those things in mind. Mark out like that 146, okay? And that's at 10x speed, okay? You become a master at what we do. But don't think you're going to be a master prior to that, okay? And by the way, how many hours per day is that? It's approximately 8 to 10 hours a day. So, yeah. Are you going to do this full time? Okay. You might, if you're doing it just on the weekends, right? You see how long it's going to take, right? Let's multiply that. Like, let's say that you're only doing that. You have to multiply that times 8. Alexa, what is 8 times 146?
8 146 is 1,168.
1,168 days, folks. If you only do 1 hour a day, all right, everybody's like, oh, I spent 1 hour a day, Vinny. I've been doing this for 1 hour a day. I mean, I've really been putting in my time. I mean, I get home from work and I spend a whole hour on it. Get out of my face. Folks, when I wanted to do this, I spent hours a day doing this. I would do it while I was at work when I was in the industry. I would do it after work. I would do it before work. I would get in my bed. I used to have a 6-screen setup just like this in my master bedroom. Now, mind you, at the time I was single, and maybe why. I'm just saying, so I could put just gigantic setup in my room. I would trade the 3 a.m. session trying to learn the whole Tokyo crossover, right? And I would wake up and just roll out of bed and go over and trade that, look at it, learn it, go again, code it, run it back, code some more, this is the stuff that it took for me to get here. And people don't, sometimes it's like that, what's that ballerina example where they're like, everybody wants to be a ballerina, but then she takes off her shoes and see how crushed her toes are and whatnot, but they're not willing to go through what she went through to get there. Now, you guys don't have to go through all that because quite frankly, shoot, if I had ALGOBOX, I mean, we cheat. It's so much easier now. I mean, really, where's Curtis at? Is he in here with us? I think he's out right now. But I mean, you can attest to the fact that there is no easier way than that. But think about that. If you're only 1 hour a day, you're right there. Okay, let's try Alexa. What is 146 times 4?
146 times 4 is 584.
584 days if you're doing 2 hours a day. Right? It's more than a year. See if we can get it below a year. How many hours per day you need to do this? Alexa, what is 146 times 3?
146.
No, I should have done 2.
146 is also even and is not prime.
Anyhow, you guys get this, right? Like, you're going to need to do the numbers and you need to plan out how much time you've got. Right? Monday and Friday's killing me. Hey, there's a personality about that. On Mondays and Fridays, there are things going on. Did you know that on a Friday, what's interesting is most retailers make a lot of money on Fridays? A retailer guy, like buying pullbacks and rolling with it, like they make a lot of money on Fridays and then they give back a lot of money the other 4 days. Most professionals, like professional retail, okay, in my opinion, it's still retail, but I mean that a lot of new people, like they're great. They make all this money on Friday. They go into the weekend high as a kite. They come in on Monday and they just give it all back. Because those personalities are completely different from a Friday to a Monday. But I teach that as we progress forward. You're going to learn that Mondays we talk about slow. We talk about that hedge funds and institutions aren't really active on a Monday because they're in meetings planning what they're going to do, and then they execute that starting through the rest of the week on a Tuesday. If they don't finish those out, they finish on a Friday because they have to have all the executions and the things that they had planned to do that they started in the conversation on Monday doing. By Friday, they've got to have them all executed. So Friday can sometimes be a desperation move day. So these moves are bigger. How many times this year have we ended on highs of the week, highs of the year on a Friday? Okay, these exorbitant moves really push into Fridays. It's a whole different personality. So people who try to like, oh, this is way overdone, and they're kind of, trading against that trend, they get wrecked really hard on that Friday, where that might work intra-week when the markets might be playing around close to the moving averages. But, come into a Friday, it's a different personality. So we'll talk about that as we progress forward in the different types. The day on a Friday, what are our rules on a Friday? Early in, early out. And again, those of you guys who are new, but again, I know I've got a mixed bag of everybody in here. So the people who know these rules, early in, early out on a Friday, we want to be done before really the open, and for sure by 10 a.m. on a Friday, and let the gamblers come and play on Friday and move out of the way. Okay. All right. So back to the risk topic here. You guys start to picture how much effort it's going to take for you to become a master in to get to the level of profitability for what we do. However, the reason I'm going to say this is because when I start to show you the stop strategies and the time strategy risk management that we do, understand that it's because you have a huge hurdle to get through if you are new. And I'm focusing right now first on the new people, okay? The people who've got experience and whatnot. We'll talk about you guys here in a minute. But when I start talking about things like this one right here, let's come over here and look at this. Okay, this is part of our risk management. I'm going to show you some weird things about our risk management. Okay, if you have not seen this sheet yet, as you come into our program, you are going to print out one of these, okay? This is Vinny's old $500 sheet. Back in the day, see how wrinkled it is? This is the same piece of paper I've had for, I don't know, maybe 6-7 years when I first came up with, like, you know what, I'm going to try this. When I wanted to go full-time professional, wanted to get out of the entire, like, not having to code and do all this other stuff for the other people and get out of project managers, like not knowing jack squat and always taking credit for everything that we as developers are doing. And, you know, because I'm such a nice guy, I mean, my personality really gets along with a lot of project managers. It really does. Tell you what. But so we start right here. This is part of our risk management tool. Let me show you how. Okay, right here. I think but this is one of our risk managements. Okay, only 5 trades. Okay, I'm already limiting how much you're going to do when you go live, because you're probably, when you go live, even if you're going to go live before that, you know, you've acquired 10,000 hours. And again, I'm not trying to tell you you should not go live until you've got 10,000 hours. I'm just telling you that you've got some major hurdles in front of you to overcome, and that if you're going to start before that, level your expectation with what you're going to do and play with a healthy level of fear and respect for the markets that are sitting there trying to take your money from you every time you press the button. Okay, so 5 trades. This is called the 6-shooter strategy right here, and this is about risk management. I'm only going to want you to trade 5 trades per session. All right. Thank you, Ronald. Yes, in fact, this was directly to you. I'm glad you picked up on this, Ronald. I think you overtrade. I'm telling you right now. Okay, I know you came in here and you're on our trial and stuff, and love you, bro. All right, you know that. But I also know that I'm worried about you. Okay, you're trading too much. You're trading too often, and you're in that space right now. You're selling cutlery, okay? You're selling to all your friends and family right now, and you've had success. Don't throw it away, okay? Now hold on to what you've made, because I know just in the last few weeks, like you made, you know, around $600 or $800. Congratulations, right? In your trial with us, fantastic. And that's what ALGOBOX can do. But it will tempt you into thinking that it's always going to be that easy. There are going to be certain days that you've got to be prepared for, okay? And what I tell you is, think about it as a video game. And what if you only had 5 shots? You're playing a sniper, okay? You only got 5 shots. And whatever you make in those 5 shots for that session, you're done. Now, what is a session defined by? Oh, by the way, let me add one more part of that. Let me add the fun part of that, okay? Because there's fun with that. After you get your 5 trades in that day, let's say that you've won all 5 trades, okay? At the end of 5, why it's a 6-shooter strategy is because you have a 6th shot in your gun, okay? You get to throw in the Russian roulette, if you will, right? Spin it, throw it in there on a 6-chamber revolver. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's because you're not from Texas. Sorry. You're going to take that 6th shot, and it's going to be, we're going to swing for the fences, right? I mentioned this last night. On my 5th one, if I've already won all 5, then I get a 6th shot, and I get to try to shoot the moon, all right? I'm just going to wait, and I get this perfect thing. I got my timing right. I've got my... It's 11:30 at the turning point. We know what the market direction is. This is likely one of these days. I know where the news is. You think through all these things, and you're like, I am going to swing for the fence on this one. And again, you might lose it, but if you win it, this is a bonus day for you. Okay, this is a way that you can do that when you're starting out, especially now. Again, as a professional, like you guys who've been doing this 4 or 5 years, like you're like, well, I trade more than 5 in like the first 5 minutes. Okay. Different for you, but I'm talking to the new folks here, catering to you to go, if you need to get to profitability, this is what helped me. This is a personal experience thing to get me to go, I got to trade less because I still don't have enough experience back in the day. Get that piece of paper, print it out, put some coins on it, and every time you win one, take the coin off, and when you are out of coins, you're done. Use it as a vision boarding tool. Fire off 5 trades. If you made $100 that day, fantastic. You made $200 a day, fantastic. Now again, why did I set 500 for myself originally? Is because at that time I was making a 6-figure salary, right? That's a hard thing to give up. 6 figures, you're talking about, 400 at that time. I think I was making around $420 or $480 somewhere, depending on which contract I was running at the time. And that was good money. So for me to go full time on this, I had a pretty big hurdle that I'm going to give that up. And then if you add on insurance and stuff, like your value of what you've got, you're talking about over $500 per day in order to make up for that, to pay for the insurance, all the other benefits that you have, the time off, et cetera, et cetera. So that's where it goes, right? So I went from 420 You know, it's a funny reference if you don't know what that means. But okay, I'm Elon Musking it, folks. That's what I mean. You know, buy Tesla at 420. Yeah, puff. Okay. So we'll move on. So 500 for me. That's what I needed to do, and I needed to limit what I was doing. So that's what I came up with. This is a little clever way that I came up with to get myself to only trade those 5 trades and have it right in front of me and do that. Okay. Now that's one way to limit your risk, because I'm literally stopping myself from taking too many trades when I'm early in my career. Now, what's a session? Because I said, you notice I said per session. Okay. Vinny's sessions. Again, these are things that we teach here, not anywhere else. Okay. What is a Vinny session? 60 to 90 minutes. Now, since we know the name, Jack Swagger also agrees with me, so how about that? Oh, I'm going to spell his name wrong. Wagger, is that how you spell his name? I hope that's it. If not, anyway, some trolls can come wreck me on for it. Don't care. All right, so Vinny session, 60 to 90 minutes. Jack Swagger said that he used to pull his top traders off the floor after 60 minutes, period. Boom, done. You've been in there, you traded for a while. His top guy, he would not let him trade for more than 60 minutes. He'd tap him on the shoulder, be like, all right, you're out. Bring in a fresh set of blood. And again, they were talking about picturing the pit, you know, back in the pit days where they're yelling at each other and doing the hand signals and whatnot, pulling off 60 minutes. So why do I say 60 to 90? Why do I extend it to 90? Well, because I think that there's a physical aspect to the people who are in the pit. Literally yelling, screaming, arms waving, yelling, all that. It takes energy and effort, and you're burning it up. So I think 60 minutes are done. Us, what are we doing? We're sitting in my chair, kicking back like this, got my music going, right? And my level of exercise is click, 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 move, click, click, move, click, 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 click. There's my activity level. So I think we're okay with 90 minutes. That's where I come up with that. But I also know as a gamer could come into any game and wreck shop for 60 minutes to 90 minutes. Okay, like if you're a top gamer, dude, you're like, here we go, you're in the game. But I've used this analogy before. These people who sit at their desks all freaking day, like they've got 9 to 5 syndrome. Okay, don't have 9 to 5 syndrome. Write this one down. Don't have 9 to 5 syndrome as a trader. Okay, what does this mean? You need to have business mindset, right? When you're the business owner, okay, when you're the boss, do you sit there and put in a 9 to 5? Now again, I'm not going to argue with you. While you're building a business, you might be putting in 60, 70 hours a week, but you're not doing the hourly thing. Get out of this whole 9 to 5 mindset, okay? Less is more when we do what we do around here, okay? So limit the time in the market that you're spending so that you can have, here is the key, the human body is capable of maximum levels of intensity of concentration for 60 to 90 minutes. Another thing, psychologically, your mental, your carbon-based life form is only capable of 60 to 90 minutes of maximum levels of concentration because the decision fatigue sets in, etc. So that's another part of why we're basically using the human body to accelerate what we're doing as a trader, because it's you. You are the decision maker at the end of the day. You're pressing the buttons, you're making it happen. So there we go. So the other thing about risk management, so we got 5 trades and 60 to 90 minute sessions. So that's 2 things, two ways already in our risk management. Okay, one is limit your trades. Trade count. And I'm going to literally say count, okay? And I don't care if you don't agree with me on the 5 thing. Pick your count, okay? If you're more than that, if you're 10, fine. But define it, okay? Before you start or before you're, even if you want to change what you're doing today, define how many trades you're going to take and cut yourself from doing any more than that. See if your P&L changes. I bet it will. Okay, because you'll also be pickier about your trades. Think about it. You're mentally going, ooh, well, I've only got 2 more trades left. Okay, well, I'm gonna skip this one now. That one's not great. I'm gonna wait for it. No, I'm gonna wait. But then you also run into a time stop. Okay, what do you got? 60 to 90 minutes. You follow me? Two ways. We are limiting your exposure to the market and also increasing the quality. Think about what we're doing here. I'm limiting your exposure to the market and I'm improving your quality of your trades. Oh, I can't spell. The quality of your trades is going to go up by doing these simple two things. That's me, what I'm telling you. I don't think you're going to learn this anywhere else because, quite frankly, I made this up. Right? Got it? From my personal experience, limit your time. These both increase the quality of your trades, which is huge. That's actually all you want to do. In fact, I could limit all this and say, look, I want you to improve the quality of your trades. Okay. Well, now I'm giving you specific ways to do that. Guys got those? So we have a time thing and we have a count thing. Now, let's get into the details of how we do it. How we do it. How we do what we do. All right. See, I need some jams. It's hard for me doing this without the jams. But you guys will be able to play this faster later. So, 2x speed. I'll probably sound like a chipmunk, but here we go. Move it fast, and you can always play it back and slow it down. All right. So let's look at, I like this RTY setting up right here. Okay. This RTY, let's zoom in right here. What do we got going on here? This almost looks like a turtle setup. You guys see the turtle? If you see a turtle here, type a 1. If you don't see a turtle, type a 2. Let's see what kind of crew we got up in here. Okay, but we definitely have a turtle. Let's see who got that one right. And I'm going to draw it for those who can't see it here. Okay, I got foot 1, foot 2. I got me a nice little shell going on right here. That is the straightest little neck you ever seen. Boop. Right? Do I want to swing at that? You bet your tail I do. Now, normally I want to see a break of this. It hasn't executed. This is at the end of the day, so again, time of day probably also matters, right? If you don't know about the turtle trade, it's okay. Go type in Vinny Emini turtle trading strategy. You can go watch that one afterwards. Okay, but there's one right here. But let's talk about the risk management on these trades. Okay, let's see. Now this is in our standard pack here, 1.5. You kind of see it. I hear you on that. So let's get ourselves a little bit of some timing right here. So we actually want to pull this to this run right here, to the top of this run. Oh, look at this beast right there. That's such a beauty. Let's see if we get a crossover point for this. Nope, no crossover there. Let's see if we get, I don't have any other formations prior and don't want to force it, but that's as close as we're going to get. Okay, so what I'm trying to do here is set up, and if you don't know what I'm doing right there where I just drew those two things, you'll learn that in future videos. But I want to show that this is definitely, can you guys all agree that this is a valid trade? And I want you to ask yourself, those of you guys who've been with me for a while, why is this a valid dot to take all by itself? What's going on here with this dot? Think about it. I'm going to pause here for a second so you can think about it. What makes this long? Again, you know it's green. You know it's bright green, by the way, not dark green. Okay. Think about it. Look at everything on the chart. Not over here. I mean, obviously you know where it's going to go. But why is this a okay and a valid trade right here? Okay, have you thought about it? I'm going to walk through the reasons that I would say this is a valid trade. First of all, are we in the favorable direction? First things first. Yes, we are. On the tide, wave, and ripple, do we know that the tide is rising? Yes, today, if you guys don't know the market, we are definitely in a rising area. Raylan says confluence. Yes, we know that there is a high amount of confluence here because this is a bright green versus a dark green. I don't have a dark green, okay? But lighter green is good, okay? But where's anybody said timing? Yes, Simon Thompson comes through with the timing. That's a huge one. Kevin said it too, close to the king timing. Bing, 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 bing. Right? This is the stuff that you only learn here. This right here, if I was using my newer tool set, this would actually be a pink line, and you would know that this is the king line right here. Lands pretty darn close to the king line. We get the red to blue bar shift. This is your Dr. Seuss entry on top of green dot, wrecking crew, roll it, and can we hold runners until we see a red? You bet your tail we can. So you could have a very big trade right here off of this dot right here based on a couple things. We got longs favorable. We've already got our moves up. We've got timings that we've measured across. We've got king timing. Is this worth a shot? To me, yes.
Down.
Now, Are we
Color dot
100%
alert for
know that
the
that's going to be a
NASDAQ.
winner? Not
Color
necessarily.
dot alert for NASDAQ.
But let's talk about our risk on this trade, because that's what we're talking about focused in here on tonight. We want to know, how much risk am I taking on a trade like this? What are our strategy
NASDAQ.
entry
Color
rules?
dot alert for
Okay,
NASDAQ.
markets are opening up here. It's after hours and they just reopened, so we're going to get a bunch of noise. I'm going to go ahead and turn the sound off here. On that, there we go. So we won't be as disturbed as we're doing our video here. We want to concentrate on these. So we're wanting to maybe take this swing. So what's my stop on these? So let's talk about our general ATMs. Okay, our ATMs around here. I'm going to teach you these, and go ahead and create them right now if you'd like. ATM, we have 2 of them. 2. We have a large, what we call, I'm going to do air quotes here, large, small. We try to keep things as simple as possible because the other stuff's already complicated enough. Is that a one-tick wonder as well? That's a good question, but I think you might be able to answer this one on your own. So here's the low of this one. Here's the low on this one. Anybody? By definition, is this a one-tick wonder? Why or why not? He's asking about a one-tick wonder. You might have to go and look into your research on this. Again, we'll do videos specifically on these, and they'll be much shorter. We're just going to get right in the meat of those. That's what our plan is for this year, to literally just go, okay, now here are the strategies. Once you know the core, we'll have lots of core training stuff, how markets move, what causes them to move, volume stuff, Flowmaster particularly. But is this a one-tick wonder? The answer is not on this one. But it's good to think about, right? When we're coming close, like you see a move like this, you bet your tail, you see a V down like this, you're like, oh man, if this stops, where? A one-tick wonder would have to be 1 tick below this. Okay, this is obviously higher. So somebody actually said in the list there, somebody said higher low. Yeah, Flarps Gaming said it's a higher low. Technically, it's a higher low. I would need a 1 tick lower low. If that dot came right here, you bet your tail, you'd have another reason why you would want to wreck this thing long. Okay, but not a 1 tick wonder on this one. Good question. So we got our green dot there. We have 2 ATMs. Now, ATM, this is not automatic teller machine thing. This is automatic trade manager, and don't quote me on that. There's a name for it. That's what I call it. Automatic trade manager inside of Ninja Trader. And we'll show that here in just a minute on what that is, but I want you to know what they are first. And our settings for these in general. Here are the settings. And let's maybe get some red. I should do this for 2 of these. It's gonna be difficult to do that. So let's do it like this. So for the small, now we start with the large, right? So we go large settings. You're gonna create an ATM with, you have to have at least, I'm gonna talk about the minimums here. You can do more than this later, but you need at least 2 targets, okay? 2 targets. Target 1, 10 ticks. Target 2, 15 ticks. Okay, now some of these you also might have 3 targets and have a runner. Okay, but initially we're just talking about generic, what you must have in the strategy for these. When we talk about a large or a small, I want you to know that in general what we have. Now I always have a runner set up with mine. So the alternate to this is, or 3 with target 3 obviously being a runner, but we know this, okay? And this you learn in the final 40 days, so we'll talk about that when we get more to the end of these sessions. We're still gonna focus on the losses first, learn how to lose well before we learn how to maximize our winners, okay? Target 2, and now our stop value initially, 25. Now, a lot of people troll this. They don't have understanding. But if somebody comes and watches this, or anybody wants to explain to them when people ask, like, why would you have a 25 tick stop? That seems like way too much. You're right. This is a hard stop. What's the difference between a hard stop and a mental stop? Well, hard is actually going to be there, and it's going to like all halts no matter what. Okay, but mental stops are going to be way before that. Okay, there are going to be ways to make a decision as this trade progresses. If the trade doesn't progress the way that we expected it to at the time, then we are going to close the position out manually. Our stops around here are always, I want you closing out manually. Okay, your job is to close this out before it hits your stop. Okay, so one of the things I always tell around here, all right, never let the market, market touch your stop. Okay, protect it. I don't know if I can fit that. Yeah, protect it like it's your baby. All right, don't let anybody touch your stop. You close out ahead of time. By you closing it, it's like putting up a shield and going, nope, 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 it's out. Close it. Don't let it touch your stop. And don't move your stop. That is a no, 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 no. We around here will never, ever, 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 ever take a stop bigger than 25. And a 25 is a combination of a 10 and a 15. And we can always come back from a 25 tick stop. No big deal. If the worst case scenario happens, okay, let's NASDAQ is a big problem like this. The NASDAQ can snap. You guys have seen the snap in a market. Boom, snap out, hit your stop. Okay, oh shoot, before you could close out, the thing just goes kapow, right? You were just wrong on the trade. Market just rips you and it goes straight in 25 ticks. Maximum you're ever gonna lose, right? That's what you want, okay? Let's see, so this is your ATM, that's the focus here. We'll talk about how we do it here in a minute, but you guys got these, okay? 10, 15, 25. This is just for setup. We'll talk about how to use it in a bit. So hang tight. Okay. And for the small, wait, did I just do, oh my word. Did I just do large right there? And I just did 10, 15. That's so dumb. Okay, I wish I could rewind that whole thing. That was the small settings. Can I get a mulligan on that? That was definitely the small settings that I just told you guys. The 10 and 15. 15. You should write it like this. Okay, small settings. Yeah, that's like it, Mr. Cook. Yes, hard stop is a protection against Trump tweets. Exactly. Something crazy happens. Yeah. So this is a small. Sorry, folks. I know I drew large there a minute ago because I was going to try to do them in order, and I flubbed it out completely. Okay. Same thing on the other one though. So on large, now that you guys can see this is my correction. If you were taking notes, large settings are 15. 20, oops, do this. 15, 20, 25. Get the dash. Sorry, I'm a little befuddled at myself for having flubbed that. Okay, large settings, 15, 25. Again, this is just a place to start, folks, just in general. And we want to live on targets 1 and targets 2. Okay, by live, I mean, like that's where it's like, I gotta plan out. I've got to at least get 10. I got to at least get 15 on my targets. I can always, like, as that progresses, hits my target 1, you can adjust your stop, your mental stop, your hard stop, doesn't matter. At this point, you want to make sure that you are putting money away on targets 1, targets 2. You're not counting on your runners to make your pay. Okay. You guys got those? Create 2 ATMs. One of them we call small. Check. Yellow. Here we go. Check. Small. And we have a large. Now, if you want to call it something, sometimes I name mine like this so I can remember what they are, because I've got other ones that are a little more complicated. But in general, this is everything from our system when you're starting out, a 10, 15, and a 15, 15, 20, 25. Now, you can do a 15, 25, but at this level, I really just want to get those 2 targets, and I'll show you guys how you're going to flip in between those. Some of these you will see in some of my videos that I do have a 15, 25 with a 25 tick stop. But I really just want to show the most basic of basic stuff here for this one as you're starting out. Again, we're catering down to the brand new folks. I usually don't ever use this one. I usually use my large is a 1525, but follow along. Okay. All right. Now, once you've got those programmed in, this is what one of those looks like. And let's see here. Let's pop over to let's pull up our, let's see, I think I've got our dev box. Where is she here? Snowy. Okay, here we go. So again, the newer versions of this, you guys are going to see, this is Flowmaster. We'll talk about Flowmaster as we get later on. Still learning, Doug? Awesome. Okay, so the ATMs that we're going to have. Now here on this one, I don't have one of these programmed in, so this is probably a great time for us to go ahead and we'll create one of these. I won't do both of them, but we'll create one. Okay, this is what we're talking about.
Valid color
Right
dot
here
alert.
on, again, all of our little buttons. Again, yours are probably not gonna be this color unless you've installed ALGOBOX, which, by the way, you can go download, install, 2-week free trial, blah, 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 blah. But folks who are watching this video, you guys should be in premium. You should already have this done, okay? So your system should look like this, and we're gonna go in here and we are gonna create one of these, and you click here and you click on custom, because we're gonna create our own, and then you hit these little ellipses buttons.
Valid color dot alert.
I thought I turned that sound off. Oh, it's on the dev box. Let's turn that off. Okay. So for our stop here, so we're gonna let's do our quantity up here. We're gonna go our 2 targets. And you know what, just for complexity's sake, we're gonna go ahead and do 3 here so you can see how we would just leave one open if we wanted to. So stop loss, quantity, all 3 of them I want to stop. I want some 3 target scenarios. My stop loss on this one is gonna be 25. Profit target for target 1 is gonna be 10 ticks. Stop, again, 25 should be for all the stops. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put these across the board. This is gonna be quantity 1, quantity 1, quantity 1. And I know you guys may not be able to see that too, but I'll zoom in here in a second when we're done. Targets here. These are pretty self-explanatory. Most folks who are coming here, you guys are pretty smart here. And I'm gonna put this out something long. Maybe we'll put it out to like 30. Now that's gonna be a target, but we're gonna set it. And then to do this is the tricky part. So once you've got your settings in, I'm gonna right click on this. Very weird, but right click right there, and it's gonna give you a dialog menu to save, okay? ATM strategy, right click, manage ATM strategies and templates. Click it. All right, now let's give it a name. And this one is gonna be our 10, 15, 25S for stop, save. Okay, so now it should show up in our list. There we go. Okay, so this is our basic ATM. And so how that works is now I can just select that ATM strategy. And anytime that I hit the buy button or the sell buttons up here, these are automatically going to create bracket orders. And we'll show that now that the market is moving here. We'll be able to go ahead and punch a sell market here. Again, this is in Sim, and I always recommend people practice with these. So I just punched the Sim button, but notice what happened here. So I went ahead and did a sell order here to show the opposite side, because everybody kind of understands the buy side, but we'll look at a sell side here for just a minute. Okay, so when I punched sell, you'll see I've got 3 open, and look, automatically, like all those already put there. Okay, so you need to get really good at this. These are some of the drills that we'll teach later on. See how I'm clicking and moving these tags? Believe it or not, this is something you're going to practice. Okay, we're going to have drills. I call it click, drag, click, click, drag, click, click, drag, click. All right, CDC, 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 click, drag, click, click, drag, click, click, drag, click. Okay, because you need to be able to move that stock, and you need to move those targets. It's just something that you need to be able to do. Become very familiar with your tools. I can move these targets, okay, etc., etc. But this is important to automatically have those there so that, boom, I can hit sell market, bam, it created another bracket order. Okay, all those bracket orders are already there, and you know, that just for demonstration purposes, this is what you're going to want to be able to do. Sell market, the other way, buy market as well. If you press reverse, now this is not going to reverse all of your trades. This is another common misconception. If you press the reverse button, it's only going to do one set of these. Now there are exceptions to that. You can set different settings, but by default, this is what happens. It's not going to reverse. If I had 9 contracts open there because I'd pressed that 3 times, it's only going to reverse and press in 1. So if you wanted to reverse the entire position, you'd also have to press this 2 more times to reverse that position to go long. You see how I hit that 2 times? Click, click, clack. Now you can have sounds on for that. I have them turned off right now, but you guys get the picture. So as the market goes up, as it takes and hits these targets, you'll hear, oh yeah, forgot, I don't have any sound on. Otherwise you would hear those hitting targets. But this is how you can take your profits as well. Moving tags is one way to take profits, or if you've got one trade open still, here is that little close button that I told you guys. Before a trade is coming, as a trade is coming against you, and you've decided that trade is bailed, boom, right there. There is your exit button, close. Okay, this is one of those buttons you're gonna be hitting very often. Boom, close. It's take profit or take your loss right there on any trade. Okay, so hard stop at 25, mental stop. We're gonna show and talk about that. So once you're past the part where you've got your ATMs created and we want to manage a position. We're going to come back to our trade scenario that we're already going through over here and talk about where is our stop going to be. Okay, so as we enter into this trade, our entry is here. Our targets 1 and 2. I'm going to show lines up here. Targets 1, targets 2. We got our runner sitting up here. We'll talk about how we manage our runner later. But all we care about is, are we going to get target 1, target 2? And I care about the stop. Risk management is what we're focused on here today. I got my hard stop down here at 25. But again, I'm not wanting the market to go down here. But let's say that you come right here, get this greened out, and like, okay, I'm going to enter in one bracket order right here. I'm getting in long. But if this thing just breaks, right? Trump tweet comes out, something weird in the market happens, and we just absolutely break down. But you've got your reasoning. You're like, I got the large timing. Oops, that's king timing. Okay, SMLK. If you don't know what SMLK is, I can't tell which one of these is what. But know that there are 4 lines in here. SM, so it looks like L, and that is probably K. Small, medium, large, king size. We waited for the king timing, and we got this dot, plus longs favorable, and we're trying to build confluence of things hitting there. And this is a bright dot, not a dark dot, so you've got more confluence sitting on this one going in your direction. Beautiful trade setup, rocking it out. And king means bigger moves. Okay, these are the size of the move. You should expect a small move on a small, medium move on a medium. You get the picture, right? Large. Again, think about this. If you had a dot right here, look, that's a pretty large move, right? But this is a king, baby. Look at that move. That's what we're trying to time, okay? So again, just teaching some things as we go along, but don't worry about those strategies. You'll learn those later. We're going to focus on the stop management. So my entry on a stop dot, folks, all the people who troll us will be like, oh, they risk too much. They risk too much. Really? Let me tell you where our stop goes. That's it. Under the dot. If this dot breaks, we're done. The dot is either a pinpoint perfect entry location with a sniper shot from at any distance. That's the beautiful thing about this. This is a headshot cheat for the markets. That little tiny dot, and your stop literally goes right underneath it. Now, when I say that, does that mean I move my hard stop up there? No, I'm going to talk about why we keep this back here. Because people are like, well, Vinny, why don't I just set my stop back to like 6 ticks? Listen, I don't know what your theory is on market makers reading your orders or our algorithms knowing where your stops are. Your paranoia levels, your not paranoia levels, I don't care. I am a firm believer that I believe that goes into algorithms and they look at where the order counts are all around this on the level 2. And I'm not going to get into my theory on that right now. But just in general, I don't want anybody seeing my stops. You guys all agree with that, right? You feel like there's probably an advantage with nobody seeing your stop. If you agree with that, type me a 1. If you disagree with that, type a 2. And I'd love to hear your take on it. In fact, I would love somebody to convince me that algorithms cannot use stops, that market makers don't look and run stops. You prove that out and show it to me. But I don't want my stop within what I call viewing distance of any entry. In that view window, definitely 10 ticks. If you're within 10 ticks, I mean, you're going to get wrecked. Okay, just try it. You want to bet me? You want to test it out? You go lose your money, all right? But I'm telling you right now, I want them out of vision of the entry, okay? So I'm keeping it back here. But again, as this thing starts to move against me, close it, bam. Surprise! There's my stop, okay? They won't see your stop, but you all of a sudden, boom, market order, pow, you're out. All right, now you're going to slip a tick, so what? And if people are going to debate about slippage, oh my word. One day I'm going to do a whole video on retards who cry about slippage, who cry about commissions. If you guys had only had to trade back in the day when we had to trade and we're sitting there spending $12, $15 per trade back in the day, you guys don't even know how good you got it, right? I mean, your trade, you're in and you're out for less than $2.50. If that's the difference between you being a winner and a loser, you're a loser. I'm sorry. Like 1 tick, stop it. Stop it. It takes money to make money, folks. In every business, you know, every business has costs, expenses, and if you're going to whine about paying the commissioner, you're going to whine about paying for your inventory, you're going to whine about that, get out of here. You're not a businessman. Go back to your 9 to 5 and listen to your project manager tell you crappy stuff to do all day and taking credit for your work, okay? That's your place. Do it. And then, you know, smile and nod at them so you can get your bonus at the end of the week and then laugh about them on the weekend. All right, I'm going to get off my soapbox. Here we go. So keep your stop back there, and then we're closing out as anything gets back here. So is this thing, if this were to lose, if we were to break, boom, I'm out right here, okay? I'm trying to get, 2 to 3 tick stop. Now, our average is 6 to 8 ticks. Okay, on most of our strategies, our average stop loss is 6 to 8 ticks. So if our average stop loss is 6 to 8 ticks and our target one is 10, right? Our lowest, well, I was about to write out the word 10. How about I just do the number, huh? 10 ticks for our winners. I mean, we already kind of got this built in to be a winning system, wouldn't you say? I kind of think we do. Right? Your goal is to try to close out that position within 6 to 8 ticks. So version number 1 of that exit is to just close right after a dot breaks. If a dot breaks, just boop, no, it's out, done, click. Right? You take a stop. Now, I'm going to talk to you about version 2. Let me see, did I cover everything on that? Any questions on any of that? Please type them in now. I believe that's all I have to say about that. A dot enters, okay, dot shows up. Price, P for pink price, starts to move up. Fantastic. If some reason it goes, doesn't get to your 10 tick target or whatever, all of a sudden starts to kind of come down and does this. Where's my stop? All right, yes, my hard stop's back there, but where am I going to close it? All right, blue button, stop, close it. We break this dot, right? Can you picture the imaginary line right there? Okay. I'm closing out here. Okay, yes, I'm going to slip a tick. Yes, you're going to have a market order close. So what? So freaking what? If this is the difference between you being a winner and a loser, you're like, this is not your game. Okay, go back to the 9 to 5. There it is. Stop out on a dot. Now, this is a very specific strategy, folks, so hang tight. We're going to get into harmonics. We're going to talk about some other things. Not every one of ours is a dot, but I'm saying if you are entering in on one of our famous dots, okay, but 2 lots are better. 2 lots? 2 lots. Did you mean 2 dots? Okay, lots and dots are close, but that's a very difficult typo. 2 lots are better. I don't know where you get that. Maybe explain yourself a little bit further. Ask some more detail on your question. I'll get an answer for you. But we're already trading 3 lots here. So, you know, and you're talking about Forex, saying lots. We call them contracts here in futures world. So contracts and lots are the same thing. When people are talking about Forex, we got some Forex traders who come in here. They talk about lot sizes. We talk about contract sizes. Okay. But he's talking about lots, we're talking about dots, and this literally has nothing to do with 2 bots or better. I mean, I'm talking about 3. Okay, he meant dots. Okay, yes, double dot. So what he's talking about is a double dot better? Absolutely. In fact, if I had a dot back here, which actually happens a lot, so we'll see one of these. Oops, did I do it in yellow? Simon will actually appreciate me doing that in yellow, the color thing. We oftentimes might see this, followed up by this. Sure, this is by definition 2 dots, right? What he's saying 2. But what we call that around here, we don't say 2 dots, just so you know, come get with the lingo. Double dot strategy, right? Double dot strategy. And that one, you can also go and Google that one, and it is a perfect segue for this guy right here. So double dot strategy. Great strategy, and yes, it is, I'm doing air quotes here, definitely better, the double dot strategy. Go check that one out over there on YouTube and learn what he's talking about. And yes, he's obviously watched some of our videos, but yes, a double dot is better, right? But does that negate the great opportunity this one was? No. And why would I take this by itself? Again, I know this is a bit of a trick question because I tell everybody, never trade any one of these. Oh, sorry, I was drawing lines on the wrong page. This is a bit of a trick question, because I always say trade nothing alone, but I said, why would I still take this one? Because it's not alone. I've got favorable direction. I've got a king line here. I've got the tide rising. I mean, I've got a fake move. This also looks like a trap. Like people are like, oh, it's coming down. This probably came very quickly. I talk about speed in a direction is actually a fake, right? Every person thinks about physics and they're like, ooh, it moved fast. It must go farther. It's actually the opposite here. I teach the racquetball play. If you smack a ball against a wall in racquetball quickly, guess what? It comes back fast, doesn't it? That's how you should think about things. If it goes up fast, it's more likely to come down. If it goes up slow, it's in a racquetball court. If you pump it and you hit it slow up the court, it dribble. It's going to keep going. All right, we'll get into that later, but good segue because he asked a question. Wrecked it. All right, so on a dot. You guys got it. Dot, I'll belabor the point. We're trying to stop out. Remember, hard stop down here, close out stop, somewhere right here, right? 1 or 2 ticks right below the dot. Easy, got it, cool. What do we do on a PRZ? Let's look at ourselves a nice PRZ entry. I think we had one coming in on the RTY earlier, didn't we? Here we go. Okay, so this is not an entry by itself, but I'm going to use it as an example. Okay, we have longs favorable, check. Okay, I had a turtle set up, check. Okay, we break down. Can I take this trade? Yes, I can. Do I want timing? Yes, I do. Go ahead and let's draw our timing. Pow, kapow. All right. Is this ideal? No, this is still a small, right? So I want to make sure I'm getting my 10 tick off of this one. If this were at a large or a king, obviously I want to do it. You gonna go watch the LSU game? Okay. Yes, everybody chooses their time where they spend it. But always remember, folks, when they come and they complain to me about, you know, what they did or what they didn't do, I got a great one. Before you go, Ron, I always like to pick on my boy Ron a little bit, especially before you go here. So let's head over here to Vinny's tweet areas. And here was an interesting tweet that I retweeted from somebody else the other day. But let's see. Here we go. All right, folks, those of you guys who think you need to spend time watching football games, and yet at the same time you're telling me that you struggle with your finances and whatnot, this is for you. All right, folks, you were out 40 times last year drinking beer, watching football with your friends. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Does this sound like you? You could be a loser too. Did it help you in any way? No. But I need entertainment! Ah! Cry fest. Stop going out. Build a future. Entertainment is better when you're rich. Promise you, folks. I got a gigantic 75-inch plasma thing over here. We got the pull-down, drop-down screens. When you got the money, then the games become much more exciting, all right? My point is, when you're trying to do this stuff, folks, focus in, put your time where you should, right? Priorities. That's my bag on that one. Oh, now he's going to hate watching the game today. Ha ha ha, I've just ruined an LSU game. Ricked. From one Aggie to an LSU fan. Get ricked. Think about me while you're drinking a brew, bro. He's going to hate me now. He's going to leave our room. Love you, Ron. Okay. Spend your time wisely, folks. Okay, so green. If we were to enter in on this position, where's my stop? This is called a PRZ. All right. The stop on a PRZ, yes, still same thing though. If I were to press the button here, orange for my entry, pow, I'm in long. Okay, green, target 1, target 2. Where's my stop? My stop starts out back here at 25 ticks, same thing. But is this the proper location for a stop? No. Where is my blue stop, the closed stop? Right there. Why? It's because it's right there. The tools do the work. Love you too, bro. All right. The stop is right there. And think about how many hours I just showed earlier. If you go, how many hours you're going to have to spend? It's a lot of hours. Okay. So the stop goes right here, right below the box. Okay, I know that line's not. Can I draw a straight line today? How about I'll use the shift key. It'll make me do it. Look at that. There's your stop. Now, is that 10 ticks? Is that 15 ticks? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. On the PRZ, they're automatically adjustable for you, folks. You are welcome. That's a great thing about our stuff. Okay, we're entering in. We don't care anywhere inside this box. You can enter here, 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 here. We're trying to get some timing with it. You want a little timing with it? So, boom, I would enter in right there. Why? Because I got one timing line right here. Boom, I can enter in right there. No problem. If it came back here, can I add to the position right here? Sure, if I got the account size for it. In fact, I do it all the time. Add into the PRZ? Sure. What's my target? Well, in this case, on my runners, I'm going to take off half my position right here into the red, right? I enter in on a green, exit on a red. Now, this is a little more complicated. We'll talk about that. Okay, but if you are trying to maximize when you get to your final 40 days, you're not taking target 1, target 2. You are maximizing your positions, and you are holding these until you get an exit red signal. Ding, 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 ding. Any questions on that? Type them in the chat box. But this is a different type of trade. These are our 2 primary types of trades, folks. 2 primaries. Headshots, PRZs are the primaries. We will talk about others, but I just want you to understand stop management around here. Now, the complicated one. Let's talk about advanced. Advanced level strategy management. So, shoot, was I drawing on the right screen? Was I drawing? Could you guys see my drawings just in, or was I drawing over here? Crap. Could you guys see those? Did you guys see me do this? Did I have this and an S right here? I'm just gonna do this real quick, just in case I didn't. All right, hard stop down here. All right, you guys know the drill. 25 tick, hard stop. Normally, your targets are 10 and 25, but on a scenario where we're holding all the way, we are exiting here on a red. Okay, easy breezy, PRZ. You guys can see it? Okay, awesome. Okay, there's your PRZ box. We're green. Stop down below it. Okay, good. I was like, just a minute ago, I went over and flipped on to my OBS screen, and I thought, oh shoot, was I drawing the OBS screen? Sometimes I do that. All right, so I want to make sure you guys get this because this is where it gets crazy. So people ask, what do I do? So I don't do the typical, like I got a dot and an immediate break. I don't tend to just close out. Okay, I'm not just, oh, we broke the thing and just close. Okay, I don't just punch close right here where we'd have a stop break under that dot. Mentally, I know that's where I want to stop. Okay, so oftentimes I'll often draw a line right there. Okay, I use the F6 tool. Okay, if you don't know about the F6, I'll come right here, click here, F6, bam. Okay, I know that I want to stop right here if the trade's not going to work for me. Okay, but if the position starts to move against me, whoops, P for price. Okay, the price moves through the dot breaks, dot goes away, wrecked, what we call a piercer. Price starts to come down. Okay, we got this price and it goes, we break straight through. I'm not gonna immediately just close out. I'm gonna wait for it to come down, and I might, what I tend to do is I try to find a spot where I'm like, okay, here, we're looking, maybe I get another something here. I look for maybe a volume spike, hopefully a blue or a white, and then I will add into that position on that volume spike. And I'll push it up, and I'm still looking to try to close out before I get there. What did I say? The key. This is advanced, and folks, I'm telling you, this takes practice. Like, you're not going to get this on the first shot. I promise. You're going to have to practice this. Okay? But I'm going to boost into that position somewhere in this area, and I got one shot to do this. If it doesn't, folks, close it out, and never, ever, 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 ever. You also need to have more. You need to have your 25 tick stop marked out. Okay, remember where that was. Maybe even draw another line there, because if the price ends up, if I don't get into my profitability area, I only have to that line to get into profitability. If it doesn't and it starts moving the other direction, I am either reversing and pushing the other direction, or if this thing just bottoms out, you do not hold it the other way. Do I hedge? No, that is a stupid thing to do. People who do hedge accounts are people who refuse to be losers. Now, that may sound like a good thing, like, I refuse to lose. No. There's no point in doing that. If you already know the position's working against you, why put extra capital to work so that you can be right? Okay? And I'll tell you, the people that do that stuff are, again, they're furus trying to fake you out to be like, look at me, I'm always the winner. I'll put a hedge on until I get there. Basically, put a position in the other direction until when? Until I'm winning, no, just close out the position, take the loss, use one account, go back the other way, take the loss, and go. Play it like a video game. I use this video game analogy all the time. Battlefield 3, I'm running around out there. I get shot. Yes, there are medics that could come and, get me back up, but I'm not going to wait around for the medic. If the medic immediately gets me up, fantastic. If it doesn't, though, I'm not going to sit there and keep holding on to this bag and wait and be like, nope, I'm not going to accept this loss. That guy shot me in the face. I'm not going to go. I'm going to lay right here until some medic comes by and then start yelling about the fact, where's there no medic? No medic saved me. We've got 5 medics on my team and not one of them saved me. and they just sit there, lay there all game while the other guys are still collecting kills. All right, I just take the kill. Okay, oh, he got me. All right, next, and I go back in there and go get him again. Don't die on one freaking trade. Okay. So advanced management on this, hard stop there. I'm gonna draw it out one more time because I know we went through a lot of stuff there. Here it is. My dot breaks, price comes through, breaks the dot. Wait for it. I'm not closing out yet. I'm taking heat, I'm taking heat, I'm taking heat. Boom, I'm waiting for a volume spike entry somewhere or a reason that I can add to my position. Or dude, if the thing just comes down, sometimes, yes, sometimes it's just my full 25 tick stop and that sucks. But I'm looking for a turning point where I get a double move, something like this. And then I'm entering in as I get the little bloop. I get a little blue bar, boom, I'm coming up, but I have to. My rules are always, after I draw that line, I got to close out this position before that line. I will never want to hold this position into positive. If you do that, I promise you, this is like a wrecking day for you. If you try to hold this past, like you're like, oh, I'm gonna get one tick, I'm gonna get one more tick past it. Dude, raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about. Type a 1 if you know what I'm saying. As you try to hold that back to your entry point, like, I'm going to get one tick. How many times have you been trying to get one tick and lose 30 ticks? Huh? Type me a 1 if you know what I'm talking about. You're trying to get one tick into positive. Like, oh, I'm just one tick into the green so I don't have to take that loss. Right? These people who refuse to lose, they're like, they're terrible arguers too. Right? They'll just, even when faced with facts, they keep arguing. Right? Like every troll on the internet these days. Every Democrat you ever read or talk about, and faced with 100, like just whatever. Don't even get me started. Okay, boom, wrecking ball. It's like, why? I would rather you. I'll tell you another little advanced stop management. If you are, for some crackhead reason, going to hold your position green because you're like, I don't know, you got longs favorable, you got all this green stuff. You're like, oh, dude, it's a turtle going on. It's an awesome trade set. Okay, you got all the reasons in the world, maybe. Okay. So I call this like the crackhead entry. If the position breaks down on you, okay, you don't get that entry position where you can try to push it back up. If you start approaching that line, you get right here and you're like, I'm approaching the line. What you need to do, find that reverse button. She's blue and she's awesome. Go punch that damn reverse button right here. Where? Right here. Not one tick into positive, people. Okay, because I'm telling you, you could go and risk one tick. Flip the script, folks. Risk one tick. Okay, because how many times are you wrong? Especially new folks. Okay. And then get reversed and target that thing down to your stop, where you had your stop, and you'll gain 30 ticks on a reverse, risking your one tick. You guys follow me that? Need a video on just those? Okay, market replay. I'll try to find some market replay and we'll do it. We'll do a bunch of them. Okay. You guys post examples if you start practice. This is something you got to practice though. I mean, practice this on every trade. Like just enter in on a position and then try practicing this. These are practice drills. We'll talk about that as we go, but I want you guys to remember, we're talking about risk. Okay, I'm trying to risk. And remember, our max risk is what? 25 ticks. Around here, max risk, 25 ticks. Max risk for the day. I will never, I don't care what happens if something totally jacks up, max I'm ever going to lose 5% ever. And it's just cut full on. Now, how often does that happen? That maybe happens twice a year for us. Last year, I think it only happened once. Don't quote me on that. I think it's only once last year that I lost a 5%. I can't remember what the circumstances were around it. But I know in years past, in fact, before we had more harmonics, before we had more tools, I mean, I had more 5% loss days than I do now. You always continue to improve. It's always funny when I get trolled for stuff. It's like, oh, I saw 4 years ago you did, I don't know, there was a crude oil trade and the crude oil numbers came out. You did your 30-minute thing, but then an unexpected news event came out. It was, I still remember the OPEC changeover, and Kazakhstan, or I don't know, whoever it was running OPEC, like has some meeting or whatever, and they wreck it all out, and I don't know what's going on. And I'm stupid. I'm like, wait, I'm gonna add. I mean, I'd already taken it. It was dumb. It was a moment. I got wrecked. I got caught by a nasty gram. Don't have the same rules. Didn't have the same tools back then. Would I do that again today? No. Did I learn a big fat lesson from it? Yeah. But you know, keep your troll levels to a minimum, folks, and be intelligent. Like, bring some intelligent conversation instead of your like shillery of, oh, I saw him do this one time, I'd never follow a guy like that. Folks, you're gonna have a bad day. There are days you're gonna have. Okay, we can minimize those and we keep them out of the way. But there you go. Okay, you guys get that? Cool. Any questions around that? I think there's probably going to be a lot more around that. That's like an advanced stop strategy. You don't have to do it that way. New folks, you're not going to do that right away, I promise. But look, if you start practicing, you know, perfect practice makes perfect. Practice does not make perfect. Like practice makes permanent. I like that one. You guys know that one? Practice makes permanent. Okay, so make sure it's perfect. All right, don't practice bad. Don't practice crappy stuff. All right. Have closed that one, speeds up close to the line, but never reversed it. Yeah, so again, that's advanced. That's why I'm saying, like, you can get really crazy with it. Try it out, Mr. Cook. Do it in market replay a lot, though, okay? But how many times, I mean, would you guys agree it is extremely rare that when you are wrong, right, the position moves against you, you can tell it wasn't exactly what you thought it was going to be. You know how rare it is that you turn out to be right. Am I right? And even if you were right, how far against you does it go before you were, air quote, proven right, right? Does the thing drop 30 ticks on you? Probably, right? If I'm right, type a 1. If you don't think I'm right, type a 2. How about that? Let's see how many people have that experience. I'm certain that you do. All right, what's our time? Hour and 45 minutes. All right, we got 15 more minutes here. So, practice makes permanent, folks. Practice well. Okay. Practice the techniques that I teach you. You'll be in good shape. We got a great video game that I give to you guys to visually see the markets and give you edge. All you got to do is execute, but you need to execute well, and you're going to have to practice. Okay. Let's see. I think we've covered our primary topics. That's what I wanted. I wanted to show you guys the PRZs. I want to talk the advanced, the standard. Open the floor for questions. I'm going to go check out our Ask Me Any Questions section, and let's see what we've got. We've also rearranged some things over in our Discord channel, so take a peek at the new areas. And again, these are always subject to change over here on the left. But YouTube, make sure you guys subscribe up here, and let's go into the Ask Me Any Questions section. I know there was a good one in here from Ron. I know he's out watching the LSU game. All right, but let's look here. Take a long time to learn. Doug, it takes 40 days, I think, to learn all of our strategies. But it really only takes, like, some people joked the other day, they said it only takes 120 minutes to learn a strategy that we have. Once you've chosen your strategy, you know, you could probably learn it in like 2 hours. So it's actually not that bad. All right, here's the question that we'll answer here today to wrap us up here. It's actually a multifaceted question, so we'll go ahead and hit this one. Oh, you know what? Actually, Crazy Dog, we're going to answer this too. Small accounts. Let's talk about that. Small accounts, actually, that is part of what we want to do. I knew there was something I was going to miss. Yes, account sizes. In fact, let's start with that. Okay. Account sizes. So when I start you guys out as a beginner, particularly, I don't care if you're a millionaire, billionaire, whatever. It's you don't want to put your whole account at risk. Okay. And I just know habits of people. When you're starting out, my suggestion is you start out, again, for our stuff. We're talking about futures, E-minis, folks. Please keep it in perspective. People are like, well, $2,500, you can't do crap for $2,500. Don't get me started. Okay, a couple things. Oh, and also brings up micros. Micros is a new thing. Just talking about new stuff. If you watch my old videos, I used to talk about, like, look, you're stuck with a contract. You can't take a half contract. You can't take a quarter contract. Folks, those videos are old, and now we have something called the micros. Yay! Folks, there are a lot more options now when it comes to this stuff. So there are some people who say, look, Vinny, I just don't really learn when I trade in sim. Like, I've got to have some risk on the line. I totally get that. Like, for me, I really don't even like watching football games anymore unless I've got a bet on. Like, I'm like, okay, well, maybe if I got some money on the line, but I just don't want to watch a game if I'm not gonna, have a friendly bet or wager. And of course, it could be money, or it could be people like me having to grow out their hair, whatever. As long as it's fun, makes it a little more fun. I gotta risk something to gain the reward. So micros might be a way. Like, you're like, you know what? I'll risk 50 cents a tick. on some micros. If that's you, fine, fantastic. Toss some money at it. But my point is, don't risk a lot. I recommend everybody, when you're ready to get going live, load your account with $2,500. Don't throw your whole 25K account at it, any of that kind of stuff. Like $2,500. $2,500, you can trade a lot of contracts with that, depending on what you're trading. Now, if you're trading crude oil or something like that, that's only 2 contracts. But for the ones that I usually typically start you guys out trading with the E-minis, especially the ES, like you could trade the ES, you could trade the NQ, you could trade the YM, most everything, the 6s, all of those you can trade for $500 per contract. Okay, so that means right there, total, you can have 5 contracts, folks, and that's a lot. I guess I should probably do a video. I expect that most people already know how much you can make per tick. NQ is $5 a tick. This is $12.50 a tick. That's why I really think you should really focus on ES. But these are $5 per tick. You can do a lot with a little. So 1 tick times 5 contracts, that ends up being $25 per tick. Okay, again, it adds up very quickly, but you can do enough with this. It's enough to be dangerous. It's enough to make you some money. And if you're doing this little thing right here, where you only take 5 trades, okay. It's plenty to do the work. Okay, so I'm going to start you with a $2,500 account. Your goal, number 1, is to grow. You've got to be able to do this, folks. If you can't do this, you're not ready. This is your goal, number 1. When you go live, you need to get this to 8K. Okay, how long this takes, there's no designation on how long that takes, but plugging away, you need to be able to have the discipline and the time it takes to get yourself to where you have taken a 25K account up to 8K. Okay, now if somewhere in there you blow this out for some reason, don't care, reload. You're not going to reload 5K, whatever. You reload another 2,500 until you can do this. And I promise you can. I promise you can do it. When you do this, when you can do this, I think you're ready. Okay, my opinion is when you can do this right here, because the struggle is real. You're going to have the back and forth. You're going to have but what you don't want to do is have those blowout moments. You don't want to have the revenge trades. You don't want to have the holding the bag trades. You don't want to have the adding to a position until you blow out thing. Like all that stuff, get that out of your system in sim. When you go live, that should be out of your system. You should have learned those 40 days to have lost well. Your final 40 days, we talk about maximizing your winners. You've had those practices, and now you apply that in live market conditions with a live account. You need to be able to get $2,500 to 8K. At 8K, you can trade any of our strategies, all the different complexities that we have here with the 2,500. You got to be a little more specific. You got to make sure you're keeping those level and tight. We'll talk about the strategies that you can run with those. You're not going to trade the J hook. All right, there are certain things. I'll give you an example. Things you're not going to do. Okay, when you start, like J-hook has a little more risk to those. I'm not going to talk about the specifics on that, but you guys can go look up that strategy. We have it in algo now, so that also will show it to you. We didn't have it back when I did that video. It was all manual. The J-hook strategy, that right there, I'm not going to have you do that manually. What's up, Ralph Mode? Appreciate the hello. All right, I'm not going to have you do that when you start. It's got a bigger risk. So, do I want you to do that as a beginner? Remember, risk comes from not knowing what you're doing. At the beginning, you're probably not going to know everything what you're doing. You're not going to have enough experience to know. Like, you need to put a bunch of J-hooks under your wing before you kind of know which ones are going to go and what type of market. That one takes more market reading than others. There are some that are just very easy, all right? HMD, we'll talk about that. You want to talk about an easy one? All right, you want an easy strategy to come in here and get? Let's talk about the HMD. Come over here to our strategies on the left. Go into the trading section. Okay, we come right down here. HMD. What is that? Harmonic dot. HMD. This is a harmonic plus a dot. Okay, it's kind of hard to miss. All right, I don't know how you mess this up, folks. All right, like you get a dot inside of a PRZ. Ding. Take it. Okay, now learn this stuff. Okay, like make sure you know. All right. A dot inside of a box. That's an HMD. Okay, you got bots, lots of things going your direction. You got favorable direction with you. You got the dot. You got the box. Crushed it. Where's your exit? Exit on a green. Enter on a red. Okay, it's a great one. You can't mess it up. My 8-year-old daughter could trade this. Okay. Oh, Daddy, there's a red dot inside of a red box. Should I take it? Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna press the red button? Yeah. Cool. All right. You're old, you can do it too, I promise, people. All right, look at that one. There's a beast right there. Is that a blue dot inside of a green? Yeah. Beast mode. The beauty. All right, blue dot is more powerful. It's the most powerful long dot that we got. Again, color coding around here. Again, bright green dot versus dark green dot, etc. But you guys get the picture, right? There's an easy one to start with. J-hook, I'm not gonna have you start with that. Let's come down here, I'll show you what I mean. J-hook, more risk. But man, talk about a big reward. Okay, there's a video on it. Here we go. Okay, but that stop is way down here. That can be pretty big. Okay, we're entering in right here. It's got a good ways on its stop, all right? But if you're getting up here and we're hitting targets 1, 2, and 3, you know, big risk, big reward on those, and you got to make sure you got a lot of things with you. Make sure you got the favorable direction. Make sure you got the tide, the wave, other things with you, or you've got a beautiful trap. One of our favorite things after, you know, in order to hit one of these is you got a beautiful trap, or the timing of the day with the trap, where we've got the 11 o'clock trap signal and a J-hook after it. Wrecking crew. All right. So account size. I think I talked about that with the small account. So Raylan's specific question was around managing the small account. How do you do it? Again, you got to grow it. You got to grow it slow and steady. Same thing. Don't take more than those 5 trades. Folks, your game is done. Okay? At 5 trades, if you lose that day, walk away. Okay, come back tomorrow. Don't dwell on it. Don't sweat it. If you're done with those 5, now the problem is here's another thing. I want to talk about this. You guys who, I had a guy in today. You know, I'm gonna rag on Anthony. So Anthony, you still here? I don't know if he's still here or not. So he came in this morning, made his profits for the day. He's like, okay, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Now I think he's traded for a long time. So again, I'll rag on him. But if he was a new trader, and these new traders who come here and they do the 60 to 90 minutes thing, like we talked about, congratulations, kudos in live. But folks, they need to acquire more time in the markets. Switch to sim, back to sim, and start practicing. Keep trading, keep practicing, practicing. You've got to acquire those hours. Don't just walk away at the end of the day or at the end of you hit your profits. And, okay, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. All right, that's called lazy trading. Timothy Sykes is a fucking psycho. Sorry, pardon my language. Okay, his whole, like, we could go trade on a beach with a margarita in hand and with just sand in between your crack and a bikini-clad, you know, hottie sitting on your right arm. That whole sale is a dream, folks. That it's a dream. Don't buy dreams, okay? Be a planner. There are 2 different types of people in life. Planners and there are dreamers. The difference between the 2, planners make their dreams come true. Plan it, and then you make your dreams come true, folks. Okay? But execute well, and spend your time trading. Where was I going? Back to the Ask Me Any Questions section. Don't just walk away when you're done with your 60 minutes. Get your tail in there, put in some work, and stop being lazy. Where'd I go? Down here. I moved everything around. That's why I can't find it. Okay. What is a legit percentage risk management to small account? Okay. I really don't talk about percent. Okay. That's why I try to, the very beginning of this, you know, the whole 1% factor, that's trash. Trade well. Trade well. That's all that matters. Trade well. Execute well. I mean, if you want to put max, like, okay, max 5%. I'll say it every time, right? If you want to quit for the day, if you get down to, you know, lose 5%, but that really doesn't apply on these small accounts. It's more important to execute well to get yourself to that level. Trade, you know, video game, you're refreshed, you take an hour to 90 minutes, boom, you're ready to go. I can tell you right now, this video is too long for people. How long is it now? Or an hour and 57 minutes. So I got 3 minutes before this is 2 hours long, okay? And people are gonna have a hard time just getting through this video. Now, hopefully they're playing it at high speed later on, and maybe, okay? So maybe you get it to that 90 minutes, because their maximum level of concentration, it's gone at this point, okay? So maximize what you do, and you'll get to the point where you can do this. You know what I'm saying? Thanks, Doug. Appreciate it. You're awesome too, brother. You the man. No, you the man. No, you the man. No, you the man. All right. Next question here. How you read the cross at Flowmaster. We will have a whole course on Flowmaster, so we'll come back to that one. Ron had asked, message about ALGOBOX saying longs are favorable. Is that certain indicators making that call, or is there some centralized cloud that makes the call for each individual instrument? Okay, per instrument. Yes, the answer is per instrument, and just trust it. And you can trade it on anything. Also, when it says, does it mean that right now, here is this very moment, regardless of all that? Yes. You're into the car for another 2 hours? You got a long drive, Timothy? Where are you driving to? Based on the entirety of whatever you happen to load up. Just trust it, folks. It's not fragile. Don't think our stuff is fragile, folks. If it says what it means what it says. If you want to go one step further, the new, improved, favorable direction. Are you ready? We're talking about new stuff, new and shiny. Still want to go with favorable direction in general. New folks, just don't trade against it. Okay, there are exceptions to that rule. But let's pull up the new. Come here, Snow. The new. Wow, this is a great example, but it's also a terrible example. Algo Matrix. This is the new. This is the new cool. Folks, right now, should you trade short right now? Looking at that Algo Matrix, okay, maybe you don't even know what the Algo Matrix is. My daughter can come in here and she sees the entire Algo Matrix all lit up green. Every box is green, 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 green. Should you take a short? I'm gonna go with no. Okay, there is no red anywhere around here. Not any level is there any place you should be looking at taking a short here. So the question to Ron answer is, first of all, the favorable direction is fine, really all you need. But we've gone one step further. We've improved upon that, and you want more detail, because there are times when, okay, intraday, this might be going shorts favorable, but longs, we've got the tide, the wave, the ripple, and you look over here and it's like, well, there's still some green here. So if you want additional information on just your bias, our new and improved way of knowing what you should do with that bias is look at the Algo Matrix, and this is going to tell you what's going on multiple time frames. Okay. In fact, I've told people before, like, our ultimate goal is to literally be able to read one of these and eliminate the higher time frames. Now, could you really do that? No. I like to have the higher time frames because I still read information and structure off of those. But in theory, if you were just a scalping machine and you just wanted to go, I just care what's happening right here at this level, you just need to know, like, are we more red, are we more green? Did I get a red to a green? And if this goes red, like one of these goes from red and then turns green, bam, I'm looking for a long. Simple as that. Okay, you got the overall is green. You follow that? Got a red inside. I'm teaching all kinds of strategies here today, aren't I? Okay. And then boom, it goes green. Boom. You're in. Bam. Go. Target 1, target 2. All right, Ron, hopefully that answers your question on asking about the favorable direction. Don't worry about it. It's not fragile, and yes, it applies on anything, and yes, you could apply it on. His next questions were, can I use it on any type of bar? The answer is yes. And he's to make an assumption. Don't ever assume around here. Assume has the words ass and you and me in it. Think about it. Assume. All right. All assuming does is makes an ass out of you and me. All right. Don't assume. Ask the question. And only use the charts. Wrinkle bars doesn't matter. I like to make copied and change things. Well, that's dumb. Look, you're not smart enough to change things, people. Ron, everybody else, applies to everybody. I don't know that anyone here can beat me in a trading contest. If you think you can, fantastic. And then I want you to teach me how you do it. Okay, awesome. But until you can beat me, don't change things. And then compare. Never actually use them. Just neat sorts of things in real time. Always keep a bare bones Renko around. Okay, Renko charts. If he means actual Renkos, these are dangerous. They have their place. But false opens and false closes, in my opinion, are not good things. They might show you levels, but man, if you're still trading levels at this level, come on. The only thing about levels that works is levels don't work. All right, volume MACD. Yeah, he's telling me what he does. That's the problem. Like, come here, learn, then you'll earn. How difficult recognizing the trap? Okay, oh, you have difficulties recognizing the trap. That is acquired knowledge, but you know what? I'm gonna do an entire trap series on that. So this is valid. There's a video called It's a Trap. It's old, it's like 4 years old at this point. We'll do an updated version of that. But yes, I've always said that identifying a trap is difficult. And you'll notice that, especially for new traders, and really it's not a focus, doesn't have to be, but I'll tell you, if you can start to identify traps, you can do a lot of amazing things. And so that's why I say don't do a J-hook, actually. The first thing is because it's hard for a new trader to really identify when a real trap is being set. Okay, there are characteristics that you have to see, you have to understand the different people who are stuck and whatnot, but you'll acquire that over time, and we'll do some video series around that one, not for this video, but we have covered the gambit on risk. We talked about the account sizes. We talked about where I believe you should start. You can go as big as you want later on, but if you can't take a $2,500 account yet and get it to 8K, I personally don't think you're ready yet. My personal opinion as a mentor. If you can do that, and I'll tell you right now, it's difficult. Okay, it's tough, especially for new people. You gotta. Let me talk about this. There is a rule that I have. If you have a windfall day, which means you have a huge day, okay, bonus day. Bonus days are followed by crap days. Okay, remember this. Bonus days are followed by very difficult days. It's just a thing. Everything from the mental part of it to everything else. I've gone into this in other videos. I won't belabor it, but I want you guys to know that there is a cadence to market conditions. Okay. My robotic systems, when I'm running a dual robot system, I'm having one robot read the market. The other one is, we call it reader writer. I'm having one go out there, run the feelers. This guy's getting wrecked. He's just tricking everything. And then this one is entering in when the conditions are right. You could call this trading with feelers. We'll talk about that in other strategies. But I'll tell you on a conditionality of days. You have one thing, if you're struggling as a trader, here is a big tip you can get away with tonight. Okay, here we go. If you're a struggling trader, concentrate on a day. What day of the week do you want to master? Okay, because what happens is you're like, okay, what day is it? Is it Tuesday? Is it a Wednesday? Okay, do I have crude oil inventory numbers? Do I not? Okay, is it Friday? I got to do this on that day. Just concentrate on one day. Maybe be like switch back to go, I'm going to only trade live for a while on one day. What day is that going to be? Okay, maybe it's your schedule. Maybe it's around like you work your schedule, like, oh, I got to pick up the kids on that day. I got to do this on that day. But then there's that day you're like, oh, my wife handles all that day. My husband does all that day. You know what? I'm going to trade. In fact, I'm going to master Friday, right? Vinny says it's early in, early out. I'm going to go to work and whatnot. I'm going to master Friday, and I'm only going to trade live on Fridays, and I'm going to trade the morning, or I'm going to trade the afternoon session. By the way, the session thing, oops, should have said this at the very beginning. So hope you guys stayed around for the end of the video. There are 2 sessions per day, normal, standard, okay? That's 60 to 90 minutes. You can do a morning session and you can do an afternoon session as long as there is a 2.5 hour break in between. You need to have at least a 2.5 hour break. Okay, make sure you tell that to your friends and all the people who left the video earlier tonight. Okay, 2.5 hour break in between any 2 sessions on a day, but concentrate on a day. On a Friday, there's really only one. I want you to trade in the mornings right now. Now later on, I really haven't tested this since we've added harmonics and all the other tools. Like, I think that we probably have an edge there. I just have not tested it because, look, I've been doing this 10 years and I used to, like, Fridays are tough days, and I've got my way of handling it. But hey, can you teach an old dog new tricks? Yeah. Can you get a short hair guy to grow it long? Well, yeah. Okay, here we go. So maybe I can get better on Fridays. But be the beast on a Friday. Maybe you're the Monday guy. Maybe you're the Wednesday guy. You know what? Crude oil inventories, I'm going to master crude. I'm going to wreck that 11 o'clock trade or whatever. Fine. But start to concentrate on a day and then practice the other days, okay? But just hone in. Be the master of one day. If you're struggling, come back to that one day and crush it that one day, okay? So that you've eliminated all the other factors. Like, you only have to be like, okay, on this day, I'm full concentration on. I know what's coming in that day. Now, on that certain day, though, I want to tell you that you still want to trade the days before it in sim. Because here is that cadence, okay? And now you're like, well, Vinny, you're talking about cadence. What are you talking about? Cadence of markets. Bad days follow good ones, and vice versa. Okay, so how does that work? What I would actually suggest to people, especially when they're going live or if they're in this struggle zone, that you should trade sim, what I call feelers. Okay, so this is when you're already live. Okay, but a feeler, you need feeler days. Okay, feeler days. And if you have 2 losing days in a row, oh, this is all getting all jumbled up. But on feeler days, if you have 2 losing days in a row in sim, this is completely counterintuitive, which is exactly why it works. Go live on the 3rd day. You're like, what? What? My old mentors tell me, oh no, when you go on a bad streak, you should just walk away. They're idiots. And they can't beat me in trading. Fact. And if they can, bring it. In fact, I already told you guys, I'll sell everybody. If you can find somebody who can beat what we do, beat me, awesome. I will buy yours and my subscription to whoever can take us up and do that. Go live. Because what happens is on those 2 difficult days, all of a sudden you will get a good day in there and you will just wreck shop. Now, the day right after that, go back to feeler day. Don't trade or play like you have the fear of God in you, okay? Because what happens is you're going to get greedy when you crush that day. Okay, remember the markets are only controlled by 2 things, fear and greed. Okay, but once you've got a greedy day, crank up that fear because they will get out of balance for you. And if those 2 powers, very powerful things that guide the markets, if inside of you one of them is out of balance, you're going to get wrecked. So make sure fear and greed are in balance and that this cadence goes tat, 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 tat. All right, there are going to be good days followed by bad days when it comes to difficulty levels. Okay, and of course, then there are places that I can tell you, once you've gotten to experience level like myself, I can look at the map and I can tell you what's hard and what's not. Like, I'll tell you guys, oh man, we're in the nosebleed section up here. This is a tough spot, folks, because there's nothing up above us. It could keep going. There's nothing to tell us how far it could go. There's nothing to tell us how far below it can go. We're far away from the golden ropes. You know, this is going to be a tough place in here, folks. So trade your 5 trades, keep it tight, right? Manage your stops, and then like, look, you're probably going to just scalp away here. We're gonna get some small profit days, and don't be trying to knock it out of the park. But then there's going to be those days when it's like, oh, y'all, this is going to be. It's my favorite spot on the map. We're in the middle of the golden ropes with a gap in between, and we're sitting right here. Like, we know what's on the high side, we know what's on the low side. This is gonna be awesome because we're gonna trade both directions. We know their limits on both sides. We know the standard deviations. It's gonna be, you know, lunch and munch time. All right, I have kept you guys here for 2 hours and 10 minutes. If you made it through this, you are a rock star. Make sure, if you guys are watching back later, maybe play it back at a little bit higher speed. Make sure you guys come back, take notes, take screenshots of the stuff that I put out on the board. Maybe print them out, put them around your house. Keep them always in front of your mind. Vision boarding techniques, put them in front of your eyes. And if you really want to master yourself, if you want to become a wiser person, here is my suggestion for 2020. Here is even for my own self to make sure that I keep doing this, because I've done this in the past. I kind of sloughed off of it when they had the babies and stuff. But there are 31 proverbs in the Bible, all right? 31 of them. 31 proverbs. You sit in it's, by the way, it's in the middle of the Bible. Put your thumbs in the middle of your Bible, rip it open, guess what? You fall in the middle of the Proverbs. You know why it's there in the middle? Because this is a pivot point where if you want to become a multi-dimensional individual and increase your wisdom, all of the wisdom of Solomon himself are inside of these. If you don't know who Solomon is, he's the wisest person who ever walked the planet. And 31 of them. That means 1 per day. Each month. Now, let's say that you start out in the NIV, right? You're reading the NIV. Fantastic. The next month, change over. Maybe you do NKJ, New King James. Next one, maybe do New Life Version, all right? But continuously put these into your mind, because what's interesting is this will feed your mind. You will become one of the wisest people on the planet. And in the book of James, ask for all these things. James 1 says, if any of you lack knowledge, let him ask of it, believing that he will receive it and it will be given to him, but not if he doubts. For if he doubts, he will be as a double-minded man, and he will be cast around in a sea and dashed up into the rocks and blown up into pieces. So if you're going to ask for it and you don't believe it's going to happen, do yourself a favor. Don't do it. All right, my friends, one proverb a day. And then what I like to do is pick out 2 or 3 of those verses that really spoke to me in those, because there are many. But that's what we're doing here in 2020. And of course, we're trying to lose 20 pounds. Roll it! All right, folks. Thank you for hanging out. Let's see if I can find the old music jams. Oh, yeah, let's crank it on up. Oh, yeah, little Airwolf theme on the way out. Thanks for hanging out, folks. For me, Pippi, Robbie, Lunchbot, Mod Squad, Curtis G, and Lesson 1. Let's send out that big H-Town. See ya.
What's up?